दिल ने ये कहा है दिल से मोहब्बत हो गई है तुमसे मेरी जान मेरे दिल पर मेरा एतबार कर लो जितना बेकरार हूँ मैं खुद को बेकरार कर लो मेरी धड़कनों को समझो तुम भी मुझसे प्यार कर लो तुम भी मुझसे प्यार कर लो तुमसे ये वो कहती है आँखों की शर्म हया मदहोश ये करती है आँखों की शर्म हया ये जिंदगी आपकी ही हमारी
Hi, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us for the fourth reading in the Samuel-Lancaster play reading series, Shakespeare's Measure for Measure. My name is Lancaster, and I am the producer and artistic director of this play reading series. I am an Indian-American woman and actress, and the name of this series is representative of the intersectionality and joining of my two ethnic identities. I wanted to extend the idea of joining or coming together to this project. My hope is that through art, diverse communities can come together and laugh, cry, grieve, heal, and share in the gift that is each other's humanity. The mission of this series is to amplify diverse voices and change the traditional casting narrative, serve and contribute to different communities across the globe, and uplift people through theater and art. So far in the series, we have done readings of A Midsummer Night's Dream for colored girls who have considered suicide / When the Rainbow is Enough, and An Inspector Calls. Because of your support and the support of the many communities we all exist in, we have raised over $2,000 in donations and were able to financially give to the Black Visions Collective, the Black Women's Health Imperative, and the International Rescue Committee to aid the humanitarian crisis in Yemen. Truly, I am so humbled and honored. Thank you for showing up, for donating, and for supporting this series as we use art to fight for social justice. Our associated organization this afternoon, is Project Nani Kali. Project Nani Kali provides underprivileged girls with the educational support they need to break free from the limited choices that poverty offers them and grow up to be informed, confident, and self-reliant young women. Project Nani Kali has been successful in ensuring that over 90% of the girls in the program complete their schooling and do not drop out before they complete Class 10. For the girls that are forced to leave because they belong to migrant families, the Nani Kali team ensures that these girls do not drop out of the education system by helping them enroll into local schools around their new residence. This organization holds a special place in my heart because my grandmother, Sarojini Samuel, was a teacher in Collier in the southern part of India. Educating girls in all parts of the world is vital to the success of a global community, and it's not too late to donate to this wonderful organization. It's never too late. You can donate by Venmoing me at Sierra Lancaster, so at SIERRA LANCASTR, no E at the end. The information will also be in the chat throughout the entirety of the reading for your convenience. We have more readings for you this summer. On August 8th, we will be partnering with the Berkeley Institute for Arts Education and Special Needs for a magical reading of Cinderella and the Crystal Slipper. Perfect for all kids and all of those young at heart. This reading will not only be a bippity-boppity brilliant time, but will also be sensory friendly. We invite you to dress up in your fairy tale best and join us at 11 a.m. Eastern Time for some magical fun and a character meet and greet after the reading. We'll be ending the summer series with Tracy Lett's August Osage County on Wednesday, August 12th at 8 p.m. Eastern Time. Each of these readings will have an associated organization that we will be fundraising for. Continue to be on the lookout for more information. Following the reading, there will be a post-show discussion with the cast. As you view the reading, we invite you to think of questions and any moments in the piece that stood out to you. At the end of the reading, we will take a few minutes to allow folks to shift and for the company to have a moment to prepare for the discussion. During this time, please type your questions and thoughts into the chat. There will be a reminder to do this at the end of the reading as well. And now, without further ado, the Samuel-Lancaster play reading series is proud to present William Shakespeare's Measure for Measure.
Measure for Measure by William Shakespeare, Act 1.
Aeschylus.
My lord.
Of government the properties to unfold would seem in me to affect speech and discourse, since I am put to know that your own science exceeds in that the lists of all advice my strength can give you. Then no more remains, but that to your sufficiency, as your worth is able, and let them work. The nature of our people, our cities, institutions, and the terms for common justice, you're as pregnant in as art and practice hath enriched any that we remember. There is our commission, from which we would not have you war. Call hither, I say, bid come before us, Angela. What figure of us think you will he bear? For you must know we have with special soul elected him our absence to supply. lent him our terror, dressed him with our love, and given his deputation all the organs of our own power. What think you of it?
If any in Vienna be of worth to undergo such ample grace and honor, it is Lord Angelo.
Look where he comes.
Always obedient to your grace's will. I come to know your pleasure.
Angelo, there's a kind of character in thy life that to the observer doth thy history fully unfold. Thyself and thy belongings are not thine own so proper as to waste thyself upon thy virtues, they on thee. Heaven doth with us as we with torches do, not light them for themselves. For it our virtues did not go forth us. 'Twere were alike, as if we had them not. Spirits are not finely touched, but to fine issues, nor nature never lends the smallest scruple of her excellence, but, like a thrifty goddess, she determines herself the glory of a creditor, both thanks and use. But I do bend my speech to one that can part in him advertise. Hold therefore, Angelo, in our remove be thou at full ourself. Mortality and mercy in Vienna, live in thy tongue and heart, old Aeschylus. Though first in question is thy secondary, take thy commission.
Now, good my lord, let there be some more tests made of my metal before so noble and so great a figure be stamped upon it.
No more evasion. We have with a leavened and prepared choice preceded you. Therefore, take your honors. Our haste from hence is so quick condition that it prefers itself and leaves unquestioned matters needful value. We shall write to you as time in our concerning shall importune how it goes with us, and do look to know what doth befall you here. So fare you well. To the hopeful execution do I leave you of your commissions.
Let give leave, my lord, that we may bring you something on the way.
My haste may not admit it, nor need you on my honor have to do with any scruple. Your scope is as mine own, so to enforce and qualify the laws as to your soul seems good. Give me your hand. I'll privy away. I love the people, but do not like to the stage of their eyes. Though it do well, I do not relish well their loud applause and Aves vehement, nor do I think man of safe discretion that does affect it. Once more, fare you well.
The heavens give safety to your purposes.
Lead forth and bring you back in happiness.
I thank you, fare you well. Angelo, I shall desire you, sir, to give me leave to free speech with you, and it concerns me to look into the button of my place. A power I have, but of what strength and nature I am not instructed.
'Tis so with me. Let us withdraw together, and we may soon our satisfaction have touching that point.
I'll wait upon your honor.
If the Duke with the other dukes come not to the composition with the King of Hungary, then why all the dukes fall upon the king?
Heaven grant us its peace, but not the King of Hungary's.
Amen.
Thou concludest like the sanctimonious pirate that went to sea with the 10 commandments, but scraped one out of the table.
Thou shalt not steal.
Aye, that he raised.
Why, 'twas a commandment to command the captain and all the rest from their functions. They put forth to steal. There's not a soldier of us all that in the thanksgiving before meat do relish the petition well that prays for peace.
I never heard any soldier dislike it.
I believe thee, for I think thou never wast where grace was said.
No, a dozen times at least.
What, in meter?
In any proportion or in any language.
I think, or in any religion.
Aye, why not? Grace is grace, despite of all controversy, as, for example, thou thyself art a wicked villain, despite of all grace.
Well, there went but a pair of shears between us.
I grant, as there may be between the lists and the velvet, Thou art the list.
And thou the velvet. Thou art good velvet. Thou art a three-piled piece. I warrant thee I had as lief be a list of an English kersey as be piled as thou art piled, for a French velvet. Do I speak feelingly now?
I think thou dost. And indeed, with most painful feeling of thy speech, I will, out of thine own confession, learn to begin thy health. But, whilst I live, forget to drink after thee.
I think I have done myself wrong, have I not?
Yes, that thou hast, whether thou art tainted or free.
Behold, behold, where Madam Mitigation comes. I have purchased as many diseases under her roof as come to...
To what, I pray?
Judge.
To $3,000 a year.
Aye, and more.
A French crown more.
Thou art always figuring diseases in me, but thou art full of error. I am sound.
Nay, not as one would say healthy, but so sound as things that are hollow. Thy bones are hollow. Empathy has made a feast of thee.
How now? Which of your hips has the most profound sciatica?
Well, there's one yonder arrested and carried to prison was worth 5,000 of you all.
Who's that, I pray thee?
Marry, sir, that's Claudio. Senor Claudio.
Claudio? To prison? 'Tis not so.
Nay, but I know 'tis so. I saw him arrested, saw him carried away, and, which is more, within these 3 days, his head to be chopped off.
But after all this fooling, I would not have it so. Art thou sure of this?
I am too sure of it, and it is forgetting Madame Giulietta with child.
Believe me, this may be. He promised to meet me 2 hours since, and he was ever precise in promise-keeping.
Besides, you know, it draws something near to the speech we had to such a purpose.
But most of all agreeing with the proclamation.
Away, let's go learn of the truth of it.
Thus, what with the war, what with the sweat, what with the gallows, and what with poverty, I am custom shrunk. Hey, now, what's the news with you?
Yonder man is carried to prison.
Well, what has he done?
A woman.
But what's his offense?
Groping for trouts in a peculiar river.
What? Is there a maid with child by him?
No, but there's a woman with maid by him. You have not heard of the proclamation, have you?
What proclamation, man?
All houses in the suburbs of Vienna must be plucked down.
And what shall become of those in the city?
They shall stand for seed. They had gone down too, but that a wise burgher put in for them.
But what shall all our houses of resort in the suburbs be pulled down?
To the ground, mistress.
Why, here's a change indeed in the Commonwealth. What shall become of me?
Come, fear not you. Good counselors lack no clients. Though you change your place, you need not change your trade. I'll be your tapster still. Courage. There will be pity taken on you. You that have worn your eyes almost out in the service, you will be considered.
What's to do here, Thomas Tapster? Let's withdraw.
Here comes Senor Claudio, led by the Provost to prison. And there's Madame Juliet.
Fellow, why dost thou show me the world, bear me to prison where I am committed?
I do it in not an evil disposition, but from Lord Angelo by special charge.
Thus can the demigod authority make us pay down for our offense by weight? The words of heaven, on whom it will, and on whom it will not, yet still 'tis just.
Why, how now, Claudio? Whence comes this restraint?
From too much liberty, my Lucio. Liberty. As servant is the father as much fast, so every scope by immoderate use turns to restraint. Our natures do pursue like rats that raven down their proper bane, a thirsty evil, and when we drink, we die.
If I could speak so wisely under an arrest, I would send for certain of my creditors. And yet, to say the truth, I had as lief have the foppery of freedom and the mortality of imprisonment. What's thy offense, Claudio?
What but to speak of would offend again?
What, is't murder?
No.
Lechery?
Call it so.
Away, sir. You must go.
One word, good friend. Lucio, a word with you.
100, if they'll do you any good. Is lechery so looked after?
Thus stands it with me. Upon a true contract, I got possession of Julieta's bed. You know the lady, she's fast my wife, so that we do the denunciation lack of outward order. This we came not to only for propagation of a dower remaining in the coffer of her friends, from whom we thought it might to hide our love till time had made them for us, but it chances the stealth of our most mutual entertainment with character too gross is writ on Juliet.
With child, perhaps.
Unhappily, even so. And the new deputy now for the Duke, whether it be the fault and glimpse of newness, or whether that the body public be horse whereon the governor doth ride, who newly in the seat that it may know he can command, let's in straight field the spur, whether the tyranny be in his place or in his eminence that fills it up. I stagger in, but this new governor awakes me all the enrolled penalties, which have, like unscored armor, hung by the wall, and none of them be worn. And for a name now puts the drowsy and neglected act freshly on me, 'tis surely for a name.
I warrant it is, and thy head stands so tickle on thy shoulders that a milkmaid, if she be in love, may sigh it off. Send after the Duke and appeal to him.
I have done so, but he's not to be found. I prithee, Lucio, do this kind service. This day my sisters should the cloister enter, and there receive their abjuration. Acquaint her with the danger of my state, implore her in my voice, and she make friends to the strict deputy, bid her herself astray. I have great hope in that, for in her youth there is a prone and speechless dialect, such as move men. Besides, she hath prosperous art, when she will play with reasons and discourse, and well she can persuade.
I pray she may, as well for the encouragement of the like, which else would stand under grievous imposition, as for the enjoying of thy life, who I would be sorry should be thus foolishly lost at a game of tic-tac. I'll to her.
I thank thee, good friend Lucio.
Within 2 hours.
Come, officer, away.
No, Holy Father. Throw away that thought. Believe not the dribbling dart of love can pierce a complete bosom. Why I desire thee to give me secret harbor hath a path, a purpose more grave and wrinkled than aims and ends of burning youth.
May your grace speak of it?
My holy sir, none better knows than you how I have ever loved the life removed and held in idle price to haunt assemblies where youth and cost witless bravery keeps. I have delivered the Lord Angelo, a man of stricture and firm abstinence, my absolute power and place here in Vienna. And he supposes me travel to Poland, for so I have strewed it in the common ear, and so it is received. Now, pious sir, you will demand of me why I do this.
Gladly, my lord.
We have strict statutes and most abiding laws, the needful bits and curbs to headstrong weeds, which for this 14 years we have let slip, even though an o'ergrown lion in a cave that goes not out to prey. Now, as fond fathers, having bound up and threatening twigs of birch, only stick in their children's sight, for terror not to use. In the time of rod more mocked than feared, so our decrees, dead to infliction, to themselves are dead. And liberty plucks justice by the nose, the baby beats the nurse, and quite offward goes all decorum.
It rested in your grace to unloose this tied up justice when you pleased, and it in you more dreadful would have seemed than in Lord Angelo.
I do fear, too dreadful. 'Tis was my fault to give the people scope. 'Twould be tyranny to strike and gall them for what I bid them to do, for we bid this to be done when evil deeds have their permission to pass and not the punishment. Therefore, indeed, my father, I have on Angelo imposed the office, who made the ambush of my name strike home, and yet my mature never in the fight to do in slander, and to behold his sway, I will, 'twere as a brother of your order, visit both prince and people. Therefore, I prithee, supply me with the habit and instruct me how I may formally in person bear like a true friar. More reasons for this action at more leisure shall I render you. Only this one. Lord Angelo is precise, stands at a guard with envy, scarce confesses that his blood flows or that the appetite is more than bread than stone. Hence shall we see, if power change purpose, what our seemers be.
And have you nuns no farther privileges?
Are not these large enough?
Yes, truly. I speak not as desiring more, but rather wishing a more strict restraint upon the sisterhood, the votarists of St. Clair. Who's that which calls?
It is a man's voice. Gentle Isabella, turn you the key and know his business of him. You may, I may not. You are yet unsworn. When you have vowed, you must not speak with men, but in the presence of the prioress. Then, if you speak, you must not show your face, or if you show your face, you must not speak. He calls again. I pray you answer him.
Peace and prosperity. Who is that calls?
Hail, virgin, if you be, as those cheek roses proclaim you are no less. Can you stead me as bring me to the sight of Isabella, a novice in this place, and the fair sister to her unhappy brother, Claudio?
Why her unhappy brother? Let me ask, the rather for I now must make you know that I am Isabella and his sister.
Gentle and fair, your brother kindly greets you, not to be weary with you. He's in prison.
Woe me, for what?
For that which, if myself be his judge, he should receive his punishment in thanks. He hath got his friend with child.
Sir, make me not your story.
'Tis true, I would not, though 'tis my familiar sin with maids, to seem the lapwing and to jest, tongue far from heart, play with all virgins so. I hold you as a thing enskied and sainted by your announcement and immortal spirit, and to be talked with in sincerity as with a saint.
You do blaspheme the good in mocking me.
Do not believe it. Fewness and truth, 'tis true, your brother and his lover have embraced, as those that feed grow full, as blossoming's time that from the seedness the bare follow springs, to teeming foison, even so her plenteous womb expresseth his full tilt and husbandry.
Someone with child by him? My cousin, Juliet?
Is she your cousin?
Adoptedly, as schoolmaids change their names by vein throughout affection.
She it is.
Oh, let him marry her.
That is the point. The Duke is very strangely gone from hence, bore many gentlemen, myself being one, in hand, and hope of action, but we do learn by those that know the very nerves of the state, his givings out were of an infinite distance from his true meant design. Upon his place, and with full line of his authority, governs Lord Angelo, a man whose blood is very snow broth, and one who never feels the wanton stings and motions of the sense, but doth rebate and blunt his natural edge with profits of the mind, study and fast. He, to give fear to use and liberty, which have for long run by the hideous law as mice by lions, hath picked out an act under whose heavy sense your brother's life falls into forfeit. He arrests him on it and follows close the rigor of the statute to make him an example. All hope is gone unless you have the grace by your fair prayer to soften Angelo. And that's my pith of business twixt you and your poor brother.
Doth he so seek his life?
Has censured him already, and as I hear, the provost hath a warrant for his execution.
Alas, what poor abilities in me to do him good?
Say the power you have.
My power, alas, I doubt.
Our doubts are traitors, and makes us lose the good we oft might win by fearing to attempt. Go to Lord Angelo, and let him learn to know when maidens sue, men give like gods. And when they weep and kneel, all their petitions are as freely theirs as they themselves would owe them.
I'll see what I can do.
But speedily.
I will about it straight, no longer staying but to give the mother notice of my affair. I humbly thank you. Commend me to my brother. Soon a night I'll send him certain word of my success.
I take my leave of you.
Good sir, adieu.
Act 2.
We must not make a scarecrow of the law, setting it up to fear the birds of prey, and let it keep one shape till custom make it their perch and not their terror.
Aye, but yet let us be keen and rather cut a little than fall and bruise to death. Alas, this gentleman whom I would save had a most noble father. Let but your honor know whom I believe to be most straight in virtue, that in the working of your own affections had time cohered with place, or place with wishing, or that the resolute acting of your blood could have attained the effect of your own purpose, whether you had not sometime in your life erred in this point which now you censure him and pulled the law upon you.
'Tis one thing to be tempted, Aeschylus, another thing to fall. I not deny the jury passing on the prisoner's life may in the sworn 12 have a thief or two guiltier than him they try. What's open made to justice that justice seizes? What knows the laws that thieves do pass on thieves? 'Tis very pregnant. The jewel that we find, we stoop and take it because we see it. What we do not see, we tread upon and never think of it. You may not so extenuate his offense, for I have had such faults, but rather tell me, when I that censure him do so offend, let mine own judgment pattern out my death, and nothing come impartial. Sir, he must die.
Be it as your wisdom will.
Where is the provost?
Here, if it like your honor.
See that Claudio be executed by 9 tomorrow morning. Bring him his confessor. Let him be prepared, for that's the utmost of his pilgrimage.
Well, heaven forgive him and forgive us all. Some rise by sin and some fall, some by virtue fall. Some run from breaks of ice and answer none, and some condemned for a fault alone.
Come, bring them away. If these be good people in a commonwealth that do nothing but use their abuses in common houses, I know no law. Bring them away.
How now, sir? What's your name, and what's the matter?
If it please your honor, I am the poor duke's constable, and my name is Elbow. I do lean upon the justice, sir, and do bring in here before your good honor 2 notorious benefactors.
Benefactors? Well, what benefactors are they? Are they not malefactors?
If it please your honor, I know not well what they are, but precise villains they are, that I am sure of, and void of all profanation in the world that good Christians ought to have.
This comes off well. Here is a wise officer.
Go to. What quality are they of? Elbow is your name? Why dost thou not speak, Elbow?
He cannot, sir. He's out at elbow.
What are you, sir?
He, sir? A tapster, sir, partial bawd, one that serves a bad woman, whose house, sir, was, as they say, plucked down in the suburbs, and now she professes a hot house, which I think is a very ill house, too.
How know you that?
My wife, sir, whom I detest before heaven and your honor.
How? Thy wife?
I, sir, whom I thank heaven is an honest woman.
Dost thou detest her, therefore?
I say, sir, I will detest myself also, as well as she, that this house, if it be not a bawd's house, it is pity of her life, for it is a naughty house.
How dost thou know that, constable?
Mary, sir, by my wife, who, if she had been a woman cardinally given, might have been accused in fornication, adultery, and all uncleanliness there.
By the woman's means?
Aye, sir, by Mistress Overdone's means. But as she spit in his face, so she defied him.
Sir, if it please your honor, this is not so.
Prove it before these varlets here, thou honorable man, prove it.
Do you hear how we misplace us?
Sir, she came in great with child and longing, saving your honor's reverence, for stewed prunes. Sir, we had but 2 in the house, which at that very distant time stood as it were in a fruit dish, a dish of some 3 pence. Your honors have seen such dishes. They are not china dishes, but very good dishes.
Go to, no matter for the dish, sir.
No, indeed, sir, not of a pin. You are therein in the right. But to the point, as I say, this Mistress Elbow being, as I say, with child and being great-bellied and longing, as I said, for prunes and having but 2 in the dish, as I said, Master Frost here, this very man, having eaten the rest, as I said, and as I say, paying for them very honestly, for, as you know, Master Frost, I could not give you 3 pence again.
Indeed.
Very well. You being then, if you be remembered, cracking the stones of the foresaid prunes?
Aye, so I did indeed.
Why, very well. I telling you then, if you be remembered, that such a one and such a one were past cure of the thing you wot of, unless they kept a very good diet, as I told you.
All this is true.
Why, very well then.
You are a tedious fool. To the purpose, what was done to Elbow's wife that he hath cause to complain of? Come to me, what was done to her?
Sir, your honor cannot come to that yet.
No, sir, nor I mean it not.
Sir, but you shall come to it by your honor's leave. And I beseech you, look into Master Frost here, sir, a man of 80 pounds a year, whose father died at Hallowmas. Was not at Hallowmas, Master Frost?
All Hallow Eve.
Why, very well. I hope here be truths. He, sir, sitting, as I say, in a lower chair, sir, 'twas in the bunch of grapes, where indeed you have a delight to sit, have you not?
Well, I have so because it is an open room and good for winter.
Why, very well then. I hope here be truths.
This will last out a night in Russia, where nights are longest there. I'll take my leave and leave you to the hearing of the case, hoping you'll find good cause to whip them all.
I think no less. Good morrow to your lordship. Now, sir, come on. What was done to Elbow's wife once more?
Once, sir? There was nothing done to her once.
I beseech you, sir, ask him what this man did to my wife.
I beseech your honor, ask me.
Well, sir, what did this gentleman to her?
I beseech you, sir, look in this gentleman's face. Good Master Frost, look upon his honor. 'Tis for a good purpose. Doth your honor mark his face?
Aye, sir, very well.
Nay, I beseech you, mark it well.
Well, I do so.
Doth your honor see any harm in his face?
Why no?
I'll be supposed upon a book. His face is the worst thing about him. Good. Then if his face be the worst thing about him, how could Master Frost do the constable's wife any harm? I would know that, of your honor.
He's in the right, constable. What say you to it?
First, and it like you, the house is a respected house. Next, this is a respected fellow, and his mistress is a respected woman.
By this hand, sir, his wife is a more respected person than any of us all.
Varlet, thou liest. Thou liest, wicked varlet. The time is yet to come that she was ever respected with man, woman, or child.
Sir, she was respected with him before he married with her.
Which is the wiser here? Justice or iniquity?
Oh, thou...
Is this true?
Oh, thou caitiff, oh, thou varlet, oh, thou wicked Hannibal, I respected with her before I was married to her. If ever I was respected with her, or she with me, let not your worship think me the poor duke's officer. Prove this, thou wicked Hannibal, or I'll have mine action of battery on thee.
If he took you a box over the ear, you might have your action of slander, too.
Mary, I thank your good worship for it. What is to your worship's pleasure I shall do with this wicked caitiff?
Truly, officer, because he hath some offenses in him that thou wouldst discover if thou couldst, let him continue in his courses till thou knowest what they are.
Mary, I thank your worship for it. Thou seest, thou wicked varlet, now, what's come upon thee? Thou art to continue now, thou varlet, thou art to continue.
Where were you born, friend?
Here in Vienna, sir.
Are you 80 pounds a year?
Yes, and
So,
please you, sir.
What trade are you of, sir?
A tapster, a poor widow's tapster.
Your mistress's name?
Mistress Overdone.
Hath she had any more than one husband?
9, sir. Overdone by the last.
9! Come hither to me. Master Froth. Master Froth, I would not have you acquainted with tapsters. They will draw you, Master Froth, and you will hang them. Get you gone and let me hear no more of you.
I thank your worship. For my own part, I never come into any room in a tap house, but I am drawn in.
Well, no more of it, Master Froth. Farewell. Come you hither to me, Master Tapster. What's your name, Master Tapster?
Pompey.
What else?
Bum, sir.
Troth, and your bum is the greatest thing about you, so that in the beastliest sense you are Pompey the Great. Pompey, you are partly a bawd. Pompey, howsoever you color it in being a tapster, are you not? Come, tell me true, it shall be the better for you.
Truly, sir, I am a poor fellow that would live.
How would you live, Pompey? By being a bawd. What do you think of the trade, Pompey? Is it a lawful trade?
If the law would allow it, sir.
But the law will not allow it, Pompey, nor it shall not be allowed in Vienna.
Does your worship mean to geld and splay all the youth of the city?
No, Pompey.
Truly, sir, in my poor opinion, they will to it then. If your worship will take order for the drabs and the knaves, you need not to fear the bawds.
There is pretty orders beginning. I can tell you it is but heading and hanging.
If you head and hang all that offend that way, but for 10 years together, you'll be glad to give out a commission for more heads. If this law hold in Vienna 10 year, I'll rent the fairest house in it after 3 pence a day. If you live to see this come to pass, say Pompey told you so.
Thank you, good Pompey. And in requital of your prophecy, hark you. I advise you, let me not find you before me again upon any complaint whatsoever. No, not for dwelling where you do. If I do, Pompey, I shall beat you to your tent and prove a shrewd Caesar to you. In plain dealing, Pompey, I shall have you whipped. So for this time, Pompey, fare you well.
I thank your worship for your good counsel, but I shall follow it as the flesh and fortune shall better determine. Whip me? No, no. Let Carmen whip his jade. The valiant heart's not whipped out of his trade.
Come hither to me, Master Elbow. Come hither, Master Constable. How long have you been in this place of constable?
7 years and a half, sir.
I thought, but by the readiness of your office, in the office, you had continued in it some time. You say 7 years together.
And a half, sir.
Alas, it has been great pains to you. They do you wrong to put you so often upon. Are there not men in your ward sufficient to serve?
Faith, sir, few of any wit in such matters. As they are chosen, they are glad to choose me for them. I do it for some piece of money and go through with all.
Look you, bring me in the names of 6 or 7, the most efficient of your parish.
To your worship's house, sir?
To my house. Fare you well. What's o'clock, think you?
11, sir.
I pray you home to dinner with me.
I humbly thank you.
It grieves me for the death of Claudio, but there's no remedy.
Lord Angelo is severe.
It is but needful. Mercy is not itself that oft looks so. Pardon is still the nurse of second woe. But yet, for Claudio, there is no remedy. Come, sir.
He's hearing of a cause. He will come straight. I'll tell him of you.
Pray you do. I'll know his pleasure. Maybe he will relent. Alas, he hath but as offended him in a dream. All sex, all ages smack of this vice, and he to die for it.
Now, what's the matter, Provost?
Is it your will Claudio shall die tomorrow?
Did I not tell thee, yea? Hadst thou not order? Why dost thou ask again?
Lest I might be too rash. Under your good correction, I have seen when, after execution, judgment hath repented o'er his doom.
Go to. Let that be mine. Do you your office, or give up your place, and you shall well be spared.
I crave your honor's pardon. What shall be done, sir, with the groaning Juliet?
Dispose of her to some more fitter place, and that with speed.
Here is the sister of the man condemned, desires to access you.
Hath he a sister?
Aye, my good lord. A very virtuous maid, and to be shortly of a sisterhood, if not already.
Well, let her be admitted. See you the fornicatress be removed. Let her have needful but not lavish means. There shall be order for it.
Save, your honor.
Stay a little while. You're welcome. What's your will?
I am a woeful suitor to your honor. Please, but your honor, hear me.
Well, what's your suit?
There is a vice that I most do abhor, and most desire should meet the blow of justice, for which I would not plead, but that I must, for which I must not plead, but that I am at war twixt will and will not.
Well, the matter?
I have a brother is condemned to die. I do beseech you, let it be his fault, and not my brother.
Heaven give thee moving graces.
Condemn the fault, and not the actor of it? Why, every fault's condemned ere it be done. Mine were the very cipher of a function to fine the faults, whose fine stands in record and let go by the actor.
Oh, just but severe law. I had a brother then. Heaven keep your honor.
If not or so, to him again entreat him, kneel down before him, hang upon his gown. You are too cold. If you should need a pin, you could not with more tame tongue desire it to him, I say.
Must he needs die?
Maiden, no remedy.
Yes, I do think you might pardon him, and neither heaven nor man grieve at the mercy.
I will not do it.
But can you, if you would?
Look what I will not, that I cannot do.
But might you do it, and do the world no wrong, if so your heart were touched with that remorse as mine is to him?
He's sentenced. 'Tis too late.
You are too cold.
Too late? Why no. I do that speak a word may call it back again. Well, believe this. No ceremony that to great ones longs, not the king's crowns, nor the deputed sword, the marshal's truncheon, nor the judge's robe, become them with one half so good a grace as mercy does. If he had been you, and you as he, you would have slipped like him, but he like you would not have been so stern.
Pray you, be gone.
I would to heaven I had your potency, and you were Isabel. Should it then be thus? No. I would tell what 'twere to be a judge and what a prisoner.
Aye, touch him, there's the vein.
Your brother is a forfeit of the law, and you but waste your words.
Alas, alas! Why, all the souls that were forfeit once, and he that might the vantage best have took, found out the remedy. How would you be, if he which is the top of judgment should but judge you as you are? Oh, think on that. And mercy then will breathe within your lips like man new made.
Be you content, fair maid. It is the law, not I, condemn your brother. Were he my kinsman, brother, or my son, it should be thus with him. He must die tomorrow.
Tomorrow? Oh, that's sudden. Spare him, spare him. He's not prepared for death. Even for our kitchens we kill the fowl of the season. Shall we serve heaven with less respect than we do minister to our gross selves? Good, my lord, bethink you. Who is it that hath died for this offense? There's many that have committed it.
Aye, well said.
The law hath not been dead, though it hath slept. Those many had not dared to do that evil if the first that did the edict infringe had answered for his deed. Now 'tis awake, takes note of what is done, and like a prophet looks in a glass that shows what future evils, either now or by remissness new conceived, and so in progress to be hatched and born, are now to have no successive degrees, but ere they live, to end.
Yet show some pity.
I show it most of all when I show justice, for then I pity those I do not know, which a dismissed offense would after gall, and do him right that, answering one foul wrong, lives not to act another. Be satisfied. Your brother dies tomorrow. Be content.
So you must be the first who gives the sentence, and he that suffers. Huh. It is excellent to have a giant's strength, but it is tyrannous to use it like a giant.
That's well said.
Could great men thunder as Jove himself does, Jove would never be quiet. For every pelting, petty officer would use his heaven for thunder. Nothing but thunder. Merciful heaven, thou rather with thy sharp and sulphurous bolt splits the unwedgeable and gnarled oak than the soft myrtle. But man, proud man, dressed in a little brief authority, most ignorant of what he's most assured. His glassy essence, like an angry ape, plays such fantastic tricks before high heaven as make the angels weep, who with our slings would all themselves laugh mortal.
Oh, to him, wench. He will relent. He's coming, I perceived it.
Pray heaven she win him.
We cannot weigh our brother with ourself. Great men may jest with saints, 'tis wit in them, but nonetheless, foul profanation.
Thou art it, right, girl. More o' that.
That in the captain's but a choleric word, which in the soldier is flat blasphemy.
Art advised o' that? More on that.
Why do you put these sayings upon me?
Because authority, though it err like others, hath yet a kind of medicine in itself that skins the vice o'er the top. Go to your bosom, knock there, and ask your heart what it doth know that's like my brother's fault. If it confess a natural guiltiness such as is his, let it not sound a thought upon your tongue against my brother's life.
She speaks, and 'tis such sense that my sense breathes with it. Fare you well.
Gentle my lord, turn back.
I will bethink me. Come again tomorrow.
Hark how I'll bribe you. Good my lord, turn back.
How? Bribe me?
Aye, with such gifts that heaven will share with you.
You had marred all else.
Not with fond sickles of the tested gold, or stones whose rate are either rich or poor as fancy values them, but with true prayers that shall be up at heaven and enter there ere sunrise. Prayers from preserved souls, from fasting maids whose minds are dedicate to nothing temporal.
Well, come to me tomorrow.
Go. To Tisawell away.
Heaven keep your honor safe.
Amen. For I am that way going to temptation where prayers cross.
At what hour shall I attend your lordship?
At any time forenoon.
Save your honor.
From thee, even from thy virtue. What's this? What's this? Is this her fault or mine? The tempter or the tempted who sins most? Huh? Not she, nor doth she tempt. But it is I, that lying by the violet in the sun, do as the carrion does, not as the flower corrupt with virtuous season. Can it be that modesty may more betray our sense than women's likeness? Having waste ground enough, shall we desire to raise the sanctuary and pitch our evils there? Oh, fie! 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 What dost thou? What art thou, Angelo? Dost thou desire her foully for those things that make her good? Oh, let her brother live let her brother live. Thieves for their robbery have authority when judges steal themselves. What? Do I love her that I desire to hear her speak again and feast upon her eyes? What is it I dream on? Oh, cunning enemy, that to catch a saint with saints dost bait thy hook. Most dangerous is that temptation that doth goad us on to sin in loving virtue. Never could the strumpet with all her double vigor and nature once stir my temper, but this virtuous maid subdues me quite. Ever till now, when men were fond, I smiled and wondered how.
Hail to you, Provost. So I think you are.
I am the Provost. What's your will, good friar?
Bound by my charity and my blessed order, I come to visit the afflicted spirits here in the prison. Do me the common right to let me see them and to make me know the nature of their crimes, that I may minister to them accordingly.
I would do more than that if it were needful. Look, here comes one, a gentlewoman of mine, who, falling in the flaws of her own youth, hath blistered her report. She is with child, and he that got it sentenced, a young man, more fit to do another such offense than die for this.
When must he die?
As I do think, tomorrow. I have provided for you. Stay a while and you shall be conducted.
Repent you, fair one, of the sin you carry.
I do, and bear the shame most patiently.
I'll teach you how to arraign your conscience and try your penitence, if it's sound or hollowly put on.
I'll gladly learn.
Love you the man that wronged you?
Yes, as I love the woman that wronged him.
So then it seems your most offenseful act was mutually committed.
Mutually.
Then was your sin of heavier kind than his?
I do confess it, and repent it, father.
'Tis meet so, daughter. But lest you do repent, as the sin hath brought you to the shame, which sorrow is always toward ourselves, not heaven, showing we would not spare heaven as we love it, but as we stand in fear,
I do repent me as it is an evil, and take the shame with joy.
There, rest. Your partner, as I hear, must die tomorrow, and I'm going to instruction him. Grace, go with you. Benedicte.
Must die tomorrow. Oh, injurious love that respites me a life, whose very comfort is still a dying horror.
'Tis pity of him.
When I would pray and think, I think and pray to several subjects. Heaven hath my empty words, whilst my invention, hearing not my tongue, anchors on Isabel. God is in my mouth, as if I did but only chew his name, and in my heart the strong and swelling evil of my conception. The state whereon I studied is, like a good thing being often read, grown sere and tedious. Yea, my gravity wherein, let no man hear me. I take pride, could I with boot change for an idle plume which the air beats for vain. O place, O form, how often dost thou with thy case, thy habit, wrench awe from fools and tie the wiser soul to thy false seeming. Blood, thou art blood. Let's write good angel on the devil's horn. 'Tis not the devil's crest. How now? Who's there?
One Isabel, a sister, desires to access you.
Teach her the way. Oh, heavens. Why does my blood thus muster to my heart, making it both unable for itself and dispossessing all my other parts of necessary fitness? So play the foolish throngs with one that swoons, come all to help him, and so the air by which he should revive. And even so, the great subject to a well-wished king quit their own part and in obsequious fondness crowd to his presence where their untaught love must needs appear offense. How now, fair maid?
I am come to know your pleasure.
Then you might know it would much better please me than to demand what 'tis. Your brother cannot live.
Even so, heaven keep your honor.
Yet may he live a while, and it may be as long as you or I, yet he must die.
Under your sentence?
Yea.
When, I beseech you, that in his reprieve, longer or shorter, he may be so fitted that his soul sicken not.
Fie, these filthy vices. It were as good to pardon him that hath from nature stolen a man already made, as to remit their saucy sweetness that do coin God's image in stamps that are forbid. 'Tis all as easy falsely to take a life true made, as to put metal in restrained means to make a false one.
'Tis set down so in heaven, but not in earth.
Say you so? Then I shall pose you quickly. Which had you rather, that the most just law now took your brother's life, or to redeem him, give up your body to such sweet uncleanness as she that he hath stained?
Sir, believe this, I had rather give up my body than my soul.
I talk not of your soul. Our compelled sins stand more for number than for account.
What say you?
Nay, I'll not warrant that, for I can speak against the thing I say. Answer to this. I, now the voice of the recorded law, pronounce a sentence on your brother's life. Might there not be a charity in sin to save this brother's life?
Please you to do it, I'll take it as a peril to my soul. It is no sin at all, but charity.
Please you to do it at peril of your soul, were equal poise of sin and charity.
That I do beg his life, if it be sin, heaven let me bear it. You granting it of my suit, if that be sin, I'll make it my morn prayer to have it added to the fault of mine, and nothing of your answer.
Nay, but hear me. Your sense pursues not mine. Either you are ignorant or seem so crafty. That's not good.
Let me be ignorant and in nothing good, but graciously to know I am no better.
To be received plain, I'll speak more gross. Your brother is to die.
So?
And his offense is so, as it appears, accountant to the law upon that pain.
True.
Admit no other way to save his life, as I subscribe not that nor any other, but in the loss of question that you, his sister, finding yourself desired of such a person whose credit with the judge or own great place could fetch your brother from the manacles of the all-binding law, and that there were no earthly mean to save him, but that either you must lay down the treasures of your body to this supposed, or else let him suffer. What would you do?
As much for my poor brother as myself. That is, if I were under the terms of death, the impression of keen whips I'd wear as rubies, and strip myself to death as to a bed that longing have been sick for, ere I'd yield my body up to shame.
And your brother must die.
And 'twere the cheaper way. Better it were a brother died once than a sister, by redeeming him, should die forever.
Were not you then as cruel as the sentence you have slandered so?
Ignominy and ransom and free pardon are of two houses. Lawful mercy is nothing kin to foul redemption.
You seemed of late to make the law a tyrant, and rather prove the sliding of your brother a merriment than a vice.
Oh, pardon me, my lord. It oft falls out. To have what we would have, we speak not what we mean. I something do excuse the thing I hate for his advantage that I dearly love.
We are all frail.
Else let my brother die, if not a feodary, but only he, Owens, succeed thy weakness.
Nay, women are frail too.
Women, help heaven, men their creation mar in profiting by them. Nay, call us 10 times frail, for we are soft as our complexions are, and credulous to false prints.
I think it well. And from this testimony of your own sex, since I suppose we are made to be no stronger than faults may shake our frames, let me be bold. I do arrest your words. Be that you are, that is, a woman. If you be more, you're none. If you be one, as you are well expressed by all external warrants, show it now by putting on the destined livery.
I have no tongue but one. Gentle my lord, let me entreat you speak the former language.
Plainly conceive. I love you.
My brother did love Juliet, and now you tell me he shall die for it.
He shall not, Isabel, if you give me love.
I know your virtue hath a license in it which seems a little fouler than it is to pluck on others.
Believe me, on mine honor, my words express my purpose.
Ha! Little honor to be much believed, and most pernicious purpose. Seeming. I will proclaim thee, Angelo. Look for it. Sign me a present pardon for my brother, or with an outstretched throat, I'll tell the world aloud what man thou art.
Who will believe thee, Isabel? My unsoiled name, the austereness of my life, my vouch against you, and my place in the state will so your accusation overweigh that you shall stifle in your own report and smell of calumny. I have begun, and now I give my sensual race the rein. Fit thy consent to my sharp appetite. Lay by all nicety and prolixious blushes that banish what they sue for. Redeem thy brother by yielding up thy body to my will, or else he must not only die the death, but thy unkindness shall his death draw out to lingering sufferance. Answer me tomorrow, or by the affection that now guides me most, I'll prove a tyrant to him. As for you, say what you can. My false o'erweighs your true.
To whom should I complain? Did I tell this, who would believe me? O perilous mouths that bear in them one and the self-same tongue, either of condemnation or proof, bidding the law make curtsy to their will, hooking both right and wrong to the appetite to follow as it draws. I'll to my brother. Though he hath fallen by prompture of the blood, yet hath he in him such a mind of honor, that had he 20 heads to tender down on 20 bloody blocks, he'd yield them up before his sister should her body stoop to such abhorred pollution. Then Isabel, the chaste, and brother die. More than our brother is our chastity. I'll tell him yet of Angelo's request, and fit his mind to death for his soul's rest.
Act 3.
So then you hope of pardon from Lord Angelo?
The miserable have no other medicine, but only hope. I hope to live and am prepared to die.
Be absolute for death. Either death or life shall thereby be the sweeter. Reason thus with life, if I do lose thee, I do lose a thing that none but fools would keep. A breath thou art, servile to all the sky influences that doth this habitation where thou keepst hourly afflict. Merely thou art death's fool. For him thou laborest by thy flight to shun, and yet runst toward him still. Thou art noble, for all thy accommodations that thou bearest are nursed by baseness. Thou art by no means valiant, for thou dost fear the soft and tender fork of a poor worm. Thy best of rest is sleep, that thou oft provokest, yet grossly fearest thy death, which is no more. Thou art not thyself, for thou exists on a many and 1,000 grains that issue off dust. Happy thou art not, for what thou hast not, still thou strivest to get, and for thy complexion shifts to strange effects after the moon. If thou art rich, thou art poor, for like an ass whose back with ingots bows, thou bearest thy heavy riches but a journey, and death unloads thee. Friend hast thou none, for thine own bowels, which do call thee sire. The mere effusion of thy proper loins do curse the gout, serpigo, and the room for ending thee no sooner. Thou hast no youth nor age, but as it were after dinner sleep, dreaming on both, for all thine blessed youth becomes as aged, and doth beg the alms praised eld. And when thou art old and rich, thou hast neither heat, affection, limb, nor beauty to make thy riches pleasant. What's yet in this, that bears the name of life? Yet in this life lied hid more 1,000 deaths, yet death we fear. That makes these odds all even.
I humbly thank thee. To sue to live, I find I seek to die, and seeking death, find life. Let it come on.
What ho! Peace here, grace, and good company.
Who's there? Come in. The wish deserves a welcome.
Dear sir, ere long I'll visit you again.
Most hurly, sir, I thank you.
My business is a word or two with Claudio.
And very welcome. Look, Signor, here's your sister.
Provost, a word with you?
As many as you please.
Bring me to hear them speak where I may be concealed.
Now, sister, what's the comfort?
Why, as all comforts are, most good indeed. Lord Angelo having a fair swift ambassador, where you shall be an everlasting legger. Therefore, your best appointment make with speed. Tomorrow you set on.
Is there no remedy?
None. But such as to save a head, to cleave a heart in twain.
But is there any?
Yes, brother, you may live. There is a devilish mercy in the judge, if you'll implore it, that will free your life, but fetter you till death.
Perpetual durance?
Aye, just. Perpetual durance, a restraint, though all the world's vastity you had to a determined scope.
But in what nature?
In such one as, you consenting to it, would bark your honor from that trunk you bear and leave you naked.
Let me know the point.
Oh, I do fear thee, Claudio, and I quake lest thou a feverous life shouldst entertain, and 6 or 7 winters more respect than a perpetual honor. Darest thou die? The sense of death is most in apprehension, and the poor beetle that we tread upon in corporal sufferance finds a pang as great as when a giant dies.
Why give you me this shame? Think you I can in resolution fetch from flowery tenderness? If I must die, I will encounter darkness as a bride, and hug it in mine arms.
There spake my brother. There my father's grave did utter forth the voice. Yes, thou must die. Thou art too noble to conserve a life in base appliances. This outward sainted deputy, whose settled visage and deliberate word nips youth at the head, and follies doth anew as falcon doth the fowl, is yet a devil. His filth within being cast, he would appear a pond as deep as hell.
The frenzy, Angelo.
Oh, 'tis the cunning livery of hell, the damnedest body to invest in cover and frenzy guards. Dost thou think, Claudio, if I would yield him my virginity, thou mightst be freed?
Oh, heavens, it cannot be.
Yes, he would give it thee from this rank offense, so to offend him still. This night's the time that I should do what I most abhor to name, or else thou diest tomorrow.
Thou shalt not do it.
Oh, were it but my life, I'd throw it down for your deliverance as frankly as a pin.
Thanks, dear Isabel.
Be ready, Claudio, for your death tomorrow.
Yes. As he affections in me that thus can make him bite the law by the nose, when would he force it? Sure, it is no sin, or of the deadly seven it is the least.
Which is the least?
If it were damnable, he being so wise, why would he for the momentary trick be perdurably fined? Oh, Isabel!
What says my brother?
Death is a fearful thing.
And shamed life a hateful.
Aye, but to die and go we know not where, to lie in cold obstruction and to rot, this sensible warm motion to become a needed clod, and the delighted spirit to bathe in fiery floods, or to reside in thrilling region of thick-ribbed ice, to be imprisoned in the viewless winds and blown with restless violence round about the pendant world, or to be worse than worst of those that lawless and in certain thought imagine howling, 'tis too horrible. The weariest and most loath worldly life that age, ache, penury, and imprisonment can lie on nature is a paradise to what we fear of death.
Alas, alas!
Sister, sweet sister, let me live. What sin you do to save a brother's life, nature dispenses with the deed so far that it becomes a virtue.
Oh, you beast! Oh, faithless coward! Oh, dishonest wretch! Wilt thou be made a man out of my vice? Is not a kind of incest to take life from thine own sister's shame? What should I think? Heaven shield my mother played my father fair, for such a warped slip of wilderness ne'er issued from his blood. Take my defiance. Die. Perish. But my bending down reprieve thee from my fate, it should proceed. I'll pray 1,000 prayers for thy death, no word to save thee.
Nay, hear me, Isabel.
Oh, fie! 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 Thy sin's not accidental, but a trade. Mercy to thee would prove itself a bawd. 'Tis best thou diest quickly.
Oh, hear me, Isabella!
A word, young sister, but one word.
What is your will?
Might you dispense with your leisure? I would by and by have some speech with you. The satisfaction I would require is likewise your own benefit.
I have no superfluous leisure. My stay must be stolen out of other affairs, but I will attend you a while.
Son, I have overheard what hath passed between you and your sister. Angelo had never the purpose to corrupt her. Only he hath made an essay for her virtue to practice his judgment with the disposition of natures. She, having the truth of honor in her, hath made him the gracious denial which he has most glad to receive. I am confessor to Angelo, and I know this to be true. Therefore, prepare yourself to death. Do not satisfy your resolution with hopes that are fallible. Tomorrow you must die. Go to your knees and make ready.
Let me ask my sister pardon. I am so out of love with life that I will sue to be rid of it.
Hold you there. Farewell. The hand that had made you fair make you good. The goodness that is cheap in beauty makes beauty brief and goodness, but grace, being the soul of your complexion, shall keep the body of it even fair. The assault that Angelo hath made to you, fortune hath conveyed to my understanding, but that frailty hath examples for his falling. I should wonder at Angelo, how will you do the content this substitute and save your brother?
I am now going to resolve him. I had rather my brother die by the law than my son should be unlawfully born. Oh, how much is the good Duke deceived in Angelo! If he ever return, and I can speak to him, I will open my lips in vain or discover his government.
That shall not be much amiss. Yet as the matter now stands, he will avoid your accusation. He made trial of you only. Therefore fasten your ear on my advisings. To the love I have in doing good, a remedy presents itself. I do make myself believe that you may most uprighteously do a poor wronged lady a merited benefit. Redeem your brother from the angry law. Do not stain to your own gracious person, and much please the absent Duke, if pre-adventures he shall ever return to hearing of this business.
Let me hear you speak farther. I have spirit to do anything that appears not foul in the truth of my spirit.
Virtue is bold, and goodness never fearful. Have you not heard speak of Mariana, the sister of Frederick, the great soldier who miscarried at sea?
I've heard of the lady, and good words went with her name.
She should this Angelo have married, was affianced to her oath and nuptial appointed, between which the time of the contract and the limit of the solemnity, her brother Frederick was wrecked at sea, having in perished vessel the dowry of his sister. But mark how heavily this befell the poor gentle woman there. She lost a noble and renowned brother, and his love toward her ever most kind and natural. With him, the portion and sinew of her fortune, her marriage dowry, with both her competent husband, this well-seeming Angelo.
Can this be so? Did Angelo leave her?
Left her in her tears, and dried not one of them with his comfort, swallowed his vows whole, pretending in her discoveries of dishonor, in few bestowed her on her own lamentation, which she yet wears for his sake, and he, a marble to her tears, is washed with them, but relents not.
What a merit it were in death to take this poor maid from the world! What corruption in this life that it will let this man live! But how out of this can she avail?
There's a rupture that you may easily heal, and the cure of it not only saves your brother, but keeps you from dishonoring in doing it.
Show me how, good father.
This forenamed maid hath yet in her continuance of her first affection, his unjust unkindness that in all reason should have quenched her love, hath like an impediment in the current made it more violent and unruly. Go you to Angelo, answer his requiring with a plausible obedience, agree with his demands to the point, only refer to yourself to this advantage. First, that your stay with him may not be long, that the time we all have shadow and silence in it, and the place answer to the convenience. This being granted in course, and now follows all, we shall all advise this wronged maid to stead up your appointment, go in your place. If the encounter acknowledge itself hereafter, it may compel him to recompense. And here, by this, is your brother saved, your honor untainted, the poor Mariana advantage, and the corrupt deputy scaled. The maid will I frame and make it fit for his attempt. If you think well to carry this as you may, doubleness of benefit defends the deceit from reproof. What think you of it?
The image of it gives me content already, and I trust it will grow to a most prosperous perfection.
It lies much in your holding up. Haste you speedily go to Angelo. If this night he entreat you to his bed, give him the promise of satisfaction. I will presently to St. Luke's. There at the moated grange resides this dejected Mariana. At that place call upon me, and dispatch with Angelo that it may be quickly.
I thank you for this comfort. Fare you well, good father.
Nay, if there be no remedy for it, but that you will needs buy and sell men and women like beasts, we shall have all the world drink brown and white bastard.
Oh, heavens, what stuff is here?
'Twas never merry world, since of two usuries, the merriest was put down, and the worser allowed by order of law a furred gown to keep him warm, and furred with fox and lambskins too, to signify that craft, being richer than innocency, stands for the facing.
Come your way, sir. Bless you, good Father Friar.
And you, good brother, father. What often hath this man made you, sir?
Marry, sir, he hath offended the law, and, sir, we take him to be a thief, too, sir, for we have found upon him, sir, a strange picklock, which we have sent to the deputy.
Fie. Sir, a bawd, a wicked bawd. Canst thou believe thou living is a life so stingingly dependent? Go mend. Go mend.
Indeed, it does stink in some sort, sir. But yet, sir, I would prove...
Nay, if the devil have given thee proofs for sin, thou wilt prove his. Take him to prison, officer. Correction and instruction must both work, ere this rude beast will profit.
He must before the deputy, sir. He has given him warning. The deputy cannot abide a whoremaster. If he be a whoremonger and comes before him, he were as good go a mile on his errand.
That we were all, as some would seem to be, from our faults, as faults from seeming free.
His neck will come to your waist. A cord, sir.
I spy comfort. I cry bail. Here's a gentleman and a friend of mine.
How now, noble Pompey? What at the wheels of Caesar art thou led in triumph? What is there none of Pygmalion's images, newly made women, to be had now, for putting the hand in the pocket and extracting it clutched? What reply, huh? What sayest thou to this tune, matter, and method? Is't not drown in the last rain, huh? What sayest thou, Trot? Is the world as it was, man? Oh, which is the way? Is it sad and few words, or how? The trick of it?
Still thus and thus, still worse.
How doth my dear morsel, thy mistress, procures she still, huh?
Troth, sir, she hath eaten up all her beef, and she is herself in the tub.
Why, 'tis good. It is the right of it, it must be so. Ever your fresh whore and your powdered bod, an unshunned consequence, it must be so. Art going to prison, Pompey?
Yes, faith, sir.
Why, 'tis not amiss, Pompey. Farewell. Go say I sent thee thither for debt, Pompey, or how?
For being a bawd, for being a bawd.
Well, then, imprison him. If imprisonment be due of a bawd, why, 'tis his right. Bawd is he, doubtless, and of antiquity too. Bawd born. Farewell, good Pompey. Commend me to the prison, Pompey. You will turn good husband now, Pompey. You will keep the house.
I hope, sir, your good worship will be my bail.
No, indeed, will I not, Pompey. It is not the where. I will pray, Pompey, to increase your bondage. If you take it not patiently, why, your mettle is the more. Adieu, trusty Pompey. Bless you, friar.
And you.
Does Bridget paint still, Pompey, huh?
Come your way, sir, come.
You will not bail me then, sir?
Then, Pompey, nor now. What news abroad, friar, what news?
Come your way, sir, come.
Go to kennel, Pompey, go. What news, friar, of the Duke?
I know none. Can you tell me of any?
Some say he is with the Emperor of Russia. Others, he is in Rome. But where he is, think you?
I know not where, but wheresoever, I wish him well.
It was a mad, fantastical trick of him to steal from the state and usurp the beggary he was never born to. Lord Angelo dukes it well in his absence. He puts transgressions to it.
He does well in it.
A little more lenity to lechery would do no harm in him. Something too crabbed that way, friar.
It is too general a vice, and severity must cure it.
Yes, in good sooth. The vice is of great kindred. It is well allied, but it is impossible to extirpate quite. Friar, till eating and drinking be put down, they say this Angelo was not made by man and woman after this downright way of creation. Is it true, think you?
How should he be made, then?
Some report a sea maid spawned him. Some say that he was begot between two stockfishes. But it is certain that when he makes water, his urine congealed ice. That I know to be true, and he is a motion generative. That's infallible.
You are pleasant, sir, and speak apace.
Why, what a ruthless thing it is in him for the rebellion of a codpiece to take away the life of a man. Would the Duke that is absent have done this? Ere he would have hanged a man for getting 100 bastards, he would have paid for the nursing of 1,000. He had some feeling of the sport. He knew the service that instructed him to mercy.
I never heard the absent Duke much detected for women. He was not inclined that way.
Oh, sir, you are deceived.
'Tis not possible.
Who? Not the Duke? Yes, your beggar of 50, and his use was to put a ducat to her clack dish. The Duke has crotchets in him. He would be drunk, too, that let me inform you.
You do him wrong, surely.
Sir, I was an inward of his. A shy fellow was the Duke, and I believe I know the cause of his withdrawing.
What might be the cause?
No, pardon. 'Tis a secret, must be locked within the teeth and the lips. But this I can let you understand. The greater file of the subject held the Duke to be wise.
Wise? Why, no question but he was.
A very superficial, ignorant, unweighing fellow.
Either this is envy in you, folly, or mistaken. The very stream of his life and the business he hath helmed must, upon a warranted need, give him a better proclamation. Let him be but testimonied in his own bringings forth, and he shall appear to the envious a scholar, a statesman, a soldier. Therefore, you speak unskillfully, or if your knowledge be more, it is much darkened in your malice.
Sir, I know him, and I love him.
Love talks with better knowledge, and knowledge with dearer love.
Come, sir, I know what I know.
I can hardly believe that, since you know not what you speak. But if ever the Duke return, as our prayers are he may, let me desire you to make your answer before him. If it be honest, you have spoke. You have the courage to maintain it. I am bound to call upon you, and I pray. Your name?
Sir, my name is Lucio, well known to the Duke.
He shall know you better, sir, if I may live to report you.
I fear you not.
Oh, you hope the Duke will return no more, or you imagine me too unhurtful and opposite. But indeed, I can do you little harm. You'll forswear this again.
I'll be hanged first. Thou art deceived in me, friar. But no more of this. Canst thou tell if Claudio die tomorrow or no?
Why should he die, sir?
Why? For filling a bottle with a tundish? I would the Duke we talk of were returned again. This ungenitored agent will unpeople the province with the consistency. Sparrows must not build in his house eaves because they are lecherous. The Duke would have yet dark deeds darkly answered. He would never bring them to the light. Would he were returned, Mary, this Claudio is condemned for untrussing. Farewell, good friar, I prithee pray for me. The Duke, I say to thee again, would eat mutton on Fridays. He's now past it, yet, and I say to thee, he would mouth with a beggar, though she smelt brown bread and garlic. Say that I said so. Farewell.
No might nor greatness, immortality, can censure scape. Back wounded calumny, the white virtuous strikes. What king so strong can tie the gall up in slanderous tongue? But who comes here?
Go away with her to prison.
Good my lord, be good to me. Your honor is accounted a merciful man, good my lord.
Double and treble admonition, and still forfeit in the same kind. This would make mercy swear and play the tyrant.
Out of 11 years continuance, may it please your honor.
My lord, this is one of Lucio's information against me. Mistress, Kate Keepdown was with child by him in the Duke's time. He promised her marriage. His child is 1.25 years old, come Philip and Jacob. I have kept it myself, and see how he goes about to abuse me.
That fellow is a fellow of much license. Let him be called before us. Away with her to prison. Go to, no more words. Provost, my brother Angelo will not be altered. Claudio must die tomorrow. Let him be furnished with divines and have all charitable preparation. If my brother wrought by my pity, it should not be so with him.
So please you, this friar hath been with him, and advised him for the entertainment of death.
Good even, good father.
Bliss and goodness on you.
Of whence are you?
Not of this country, though my chance is now to use it for my time. I am brother of gracious order, late come from the sea, in special business from this holiness.
What news abroad in this world?
None but that there is so great a fever on goodness that dissolution of it must cure it. Novelty is only in request, and as it is too dangerous to be aged in any kind of course that is virtuous to be constant in any undertaking. There is a sacred truth enough alive to make society secure, but security enough to make fellowships accursed. Much upon the riddle runs the wisdom of the world. This news is old enough, yet it is everyday news. I pray you, sir, of what disposition was the Duke?
One that, above all other strides, contended especially to know himself.
What pleasure was he given to?
Rather rejoicing to see another marry than marry at anything which professed to make him rejoice. A gentleman of all temperance, but leave we him to his events with a prayer they may prove prosperous, and let me desire to know how you find Claudio prepared. I am made to understand that you have lent him visitation.
He professes to have received no sinister measure from his judge, but most willingly humbles himself to the determination of justice. Yet he had framed to himself, by the instruction of his frailty, many deceiving promises of life, which I, by good leisure, have discredited to him. And now is he resolved to die.
You have paid the heavens your function, and the prisoner the very debt of your calling. I have labored for the poor gentleman to the extremest shore of my modesty, but my brother Justice have I found so severe that he hath forced me to tell him that he is indeed Justice.
If his own life answer the straightness of his proceeding, it shall become him well, wherein if he shall chance to fall, he have sentenced himself.
I am going to visit the prisoner. Fare you well.
Peace be with you. He who the sword of heaven will bear should be as holy as severe, pattern in himself to know, grace to stand and virtue to go. More no less, self to others paying than by self-offenses weighing, shame to him whose cruel striking kills for faults of his own liking, twice treble shame on Angelo, to weed my vice and to let his grow, or what may within him hide, though angel and the coward outside. How may likeness made in crimes, making practice out on the times, to draw with idle spiders strings, most ponderous and substantial things, craft against vice I must apply. With Angelo tonight shall lie, his old betrothed but despised, so disguised shall buy the disguised, pay with falsehood, false exacting, and perform an old contracting.
Act 4.
Take, oh, take those lips away that so sweetly were forsworn, and those eyes the break of day, lights that do mislead the morn. But my kisses bring again, seals of love, but sealed in vain, sealed in vain.
Break off thy song and haste thee quick away. Here comes a man of comfort, whose advice hath often stilled my brawling discontent. I cry you mercy, sir, and well could wish you had not found me here so musical. Let me excuse me, and believe me so, my mirth it much displeased, but pleased my woe.
Though music oft hath such a charm to make bad good and good provoke to harm. I pray you tell me, hath anybody inquired for me here today? Much upon this time have I promised here to meet.
You have not been inquired after. I've sat here all day.
I do constantly believe you. The time is come even now. I shall crave your forbearance a little. Maybe I will call upon you anon for some advantage to yourself.
I am always bound to you.
Very well met. And welcome. What is the news from the good deputy?
He hath a garden circumfered with brick, whose western side is a vineyard backed, and to that vineyard is a planched gate that makes his opening with this bigger key. This other doth command a little door from which the vineyard to the garden leads. There I have made my promise, upon the heavy middle of the night, to call upon him.
But shall you on your knowledge find this way?
I obtain a due and wary note upon it, with whispering and most guilty diligence, and action of all precept, he did show me the way twice o'er.
Are there no other tokens between you agreed concerning her observance?
No, none, but only a repair of the dark. And that I have possessed him my most say can be but brief, for I have made him know I have a servant comes with me along that stays upon me, whose persuasion is I come about my brother.
'Tis well borne up. I have not made yet known to Mariana a word of this. What ho, within? Come forth. I pray you be acquainted with this maid. She comes to do you good.
I do desire the like.
Do you persuade yourself that I respect you?
Good friar, I know you do, and have found it.
Take then this your companion by the hand, who hath a story ready for your ear. I shall attend your leisure. But make haste, the vapor's night approaches.
Would please you walk aside?
O place in greatness, millions of false eyes are stuck upon thee, volumes of report rung with these false and the most contrarious quest upon thy doings. 1,000 escapes of wit. Make thee the father of thy idle dream and racked thee in their fancies. Welcome. How agreed?
She'll take the enterprise upon her father, if you advise it.
It is not my consent, but my entry to.
Little have you to say when you depart from him, but soft and low, remember now my brother.
Fear me not.
Nor, gentle daughter, fear you not at all. He is your husband on a pre-contract. To bring you thus together, 'tis no sin. Sith that the justice of your title to him doth flourish the deceit. Come, let us go. Our corns to reap, for yet our tithes to sow.
Come hither, Sirrah. Can you cut off a man's head?
If the man be a bachelor, sir, I can, but if he be a married man, he's his wife's head, and I can never cut off a woman's head.
Come, sir, leave me your snatches and yield me a direct answer.
Sir, I have been an unlawful bawd, time out of mind, but yet I will be content to be a lawful hangman. I would be glad to receive some instruction from my fellow partner.
What ho, Abortion? Where's Abortion there?
Do you call, sir?
Sirrah, here's a fellow who will help you tomorrow in your execution. If you think it meet, compound with him by the year, and let him abide here with you. If not, use him for the present and dismiss him. He cannot plead his estimation with you. Ye have been a bawd.
A bawd, sir? Fie upon him, he will discredit our mystery.
Go to, sir. You weigh equally. A feather will turn the scale.
Sir, I will serve him, for I do find your hangman is a more penitent trade than your bawd. He doth oftener ask forgiveness.
You, Sirrah, provide your block and your axe tomorrow, 4 o'clock.
Come on, bawd. I will instruct thee in my trade. Follow.
I do desire to learn, sir, and I hope if you have occasion to use me for your own turn, you shall find me yere. For truly, sir, for your kindness, I owe you a good turn.
Call hither Barnardine and Claudio. The one has my pity, not a jot the other, being a murderer though he were my brother. Look here, the warrant, Claudio, for thy death. 'Tis now midnight, and by 8 tomorrow thou must be made immortal. Where's Barnardine?
As fast locked up in sleep as guiltless labor would it lie starkly in the traveler's bones. He will not wake.
Who can do good on him? Well, go, prepare yourself. But hark, what noise? Heaven, give your spirits comfort. By and by, I hope it is some pardon or reprieve from the most gentle Claudio. Welcome, Father.
The best and wholesomest spirits of the night envelop you, good provost. Who called here of late?
None since the curfew rung.
Not Isabel?
No.
They will, then, ere to be long.
What comfort is for Claudio?
There's some in hope.
It is a bitter deputy.
Not so. Not so. His life is paralleled even with the stroke of line of his great justice. He doth with holy abstinence subdue that in himself which he spurs on the power to qualify in others, where he milled with that which he corrects, then where he is tyrannous. But this, being so, he's just. Now are they come. This is a gentle provost. Seldom when the seized jailer is friend of men. How now, what noise? That's spirit possessed with haste, that wounds an unsitting postern with these strokes.
There he must stay until the officer arise to let him in. He is called up.
Have you no counterman for Claudio yet? But he must die tomorrow.
None, sir, none.
As near the dawning provost as it is, you shall hear more ere morning.
Happily. You something know, yet I believe there comes no countermand. No such example have we. Besides, upon the very siege of justice, Lord Angelo hath to the public ear professed the contrary. This is his lordship's man.
And here comes Claudio's pardon.
My lord hath sent you this note, and by me this further charge, that you swerve not from the smallest article of it, neither in time, matter, or other circumstance. Good morrow, for as I take it, it is almost day.
I shall obey him.
This is his pardon, purchased by such sin for which the pardoner himself is in, hence hath offence his quick celerity. When it is born in high authority, when vice makes mercy, mercy's so extended that for the faults of love is the offender friended. Now, sir, what news?
I told you, Lord Angelo, belike thinking me remiss in my own office, awakens me with this unwonted putting on, methinks strangely, for he hath not used it before.
Pray you let's hear.
Whatsoever you may hear to the contrary, let Claudio be executed by 4 of the clock, and in the afternoon Barnardine. But for my better satisfaction, let me have Claudio's head sent to me by 5. Let this be duly performed with the thought that more depends on it than we must yet deliver. Thus fail not to do your office, as you will answer it at your peril. What say you to this, sir?
What is that Barnardine who is to be executed the afternoon?
A Bohemian born, but here nursed up and bred, one that is a prisoner 9 years old.
How came it that absent Duke and had not either delivered him to his liberty or executed him? I have heard it was ever his manner to do so.
His friends still wrought reprieves for him, and indeed his fact, till now in the government of Lord Angelo, came not to an undoubtful proof.
Is it now apparent?
Most manifest, and not denied by himself.
Hath he borne himself potently in prison? How seems to be touched?
A man that apprehends death no more dreadfully but as a drunken sleep, careless, reckless, and fearless of what's past, present, or to come, insensible of morality and desperately mortal.
He wants advice.
He will hear none. He hath evermore had the liberty of the prison. Give him leave to escape hence, he would not, drunk many times a day, if not many days entirely drunk. We have very oft awaked him, as if to carry him to execution, and showed him a seeming warrant for it. It hath not moved him at all.
More of him anon. There is written in your brow, Provost, honesty and constancy. If I read it not truly, my ancient skill beguiles me, but in the boldness of my cunning, I will lay myself in hazard. Claudio, whom here you have warrant to execute, is no greater forfeit to the law than Angelo, who hath sentenced him. To make you understand this in a manifested effect, I crave but 4 days' respite, for that which you are not to do, both a present and a dangerous courtesy.
Pray, sir, in what?
In the delaying death.
Alack, how may I do it, having the hour limited, and express command under penalty to deliver his head in the view of Angelo? I may make my case as Claudio's to cross in this, the smallest.
The vow of mine honor. I warrant you, if my instructions may be your guide, let this Barnardine be this morning executed and his head borne to Angelo.
Angelo hath seen them both and will discover the favor.
Oh, death's a great disguiser, and you may add to it. Shave the head and tie the bier, and say it was the desire of the penitent to be so bared before his death. You know the course is common. If anything fall to you upon this, more than thanks and good fortune by the saint whom I profess, I will plead against it with my life.
Pardon me, good father. It is against my oath.
Were you sworn to the Duke or to the deputy?
To him and his substitutes.
You will think you have made no offense if the Duke avouched the justice of your dealing?
But what likelihood is in that?
Not a resemblance, but a certainty. Yet since I see you fearful that neither my cold integrity nor persuasion can with ease attempt you, I will go further than I meant, to pluck all fears out of you. Look you, sir, here is the hand and the seal of the Duke. You know the character, I doubt not, and the singing is not strange to you.
I know them both.
The contents of this is the return of the Duke. You shall anon or read it at your pleasure, where you shall find within these 2 days he will be here. This is a thing that Angelo knows not, for he this very day receives letter of strange tenor, perchance of the Duke's death, perchance entering into the monastery, but by the chance nothing of what is writ. Look, the unfolding stars call upon the shepherd. Put not yourself into amazement how these things should be. All difficult are but easy when they are known. Call your executioner, and off with Barnardine's head. I will give him a present shrift and advise him for a better place. Yet you are amazed, but this shall absolutely resolve you. Come away, it's almost clear dawn.
I am as well acquainted here as I was in our own house of profession. One would think it were Mistress Overdone's own house, for here be many of her old customers.
Sirrah, bring Barnardine hither.
Master Barnardine, you must rise and be hanged, Master Barnardine.
What ho, Barnardine?
Pox on your throats. Who makes that noise there? What are you?
Your friend, sir. The hangman. You must be so good, sir, to rise and be put to death.
Away, you rogue, away. I am sleepy.
Tell him he must awake, and that quickly too.
Pray, Master Barnardine. Awake till you are executed, and sleep afterwards.
Go into him. Fetch him out.
Oh, he's coming. He's coming. I hear his straw rustle.
Is the axe upon the block, Sirrah?
Very ready, sir.
How now, Aborson? What's the news with you?
Truly, sir, I would desire for you to clap into your prayers, for look, the warrants come.
You rogue. I have been drinking all night. I am not fitted for it.
Oh, the better, sir. For he that drinks all night and is hanged betimes in the morning may sleep the sounder all the next day.
Look you, sir. Here comes your ghostly father. Do we just now think you?
Sir, induced by mine charity and hearing how hastily you are to depart, I am come to advise you, comfort you, and pray with you.
Friar, not I. I have been drinking hard all night, and I will have more time to prepare me, or they shall beat out my brains with billets. I will not consent to die this day, that's certain.
Oh, sir, you must, and therefore I beseech you, look forward on the journey you shall go.
I swear I will not die today for any man's persuasion.
But hear you, I say...
Not a word. If you have anything to say to me, come to my ward. Thence will not I today.
Unfit to live or die, oh gravel heart. After him, fellows, bring him to the block.
Now, sir, how do you find the prisoner?
A creature unprepared, unmeet for death, and to transport him in the mind, he is, well, damnable.
Here in the prison, father, there died this morning of a cruel fever one Ragazine, a most notorious pirate, a man of Claudio's years, his beard and head just of his color. What if we do omit this reprobate till he were well inclined, and satisfy the deputy with the visage of Ragazine, more like to Claudio?
Oh, 'tis an accident that heaven provides. Dispatch it presently. The hour draws on prefixed by Angelo. See this be done and sent according to command, while I persuade the rude wretch willing to die.
This shall be done, good father, presently. But Barnardine must die this afternoon. Then how shall we continue Claudio, to save me from the danger that might come if he were known alive?
Let this be done. Put them in secret holds, both Barnardine and Claudio, ere twice the sun hath made his journal greeting to yonder generation. You shall find your safety manifested.
I'm your free dependent.
Quick, dispatch and send head to Angelo. Now will I write the letters to Angelo. The provost, he shall bear them, whose content shall witness to him I am near at home, and that by great injunctions I am bound to enter publicly. Him I'll desire to meet me at the consecrated fount, a league below the city, and from thence, by cold gradation, a well-balanced form, we shall proceed with Angelo.
Here is the head. I'll carry it myself.
Convenient it is. Make a swift return, for I would commune with you of such things that want no ear but yours.
I'll make all speed.
Peace, ho, be here.
The tongue of Isabel. She's come to know if her brother's pardoned and come hither. But I will keep her ignorant of her good, to make her heavenly comforts of despair when it is least expected.
Ho, by your leave.
Good morning to you, fair and gracious daughter.
The better given me by so holy a man. Hath yet the deputy sent my brother's pardon?
He hath released him, Isabel, from the world. His head is off and sent to Angelo.
Nay, but it is not so.
It is no other. Show your wisdom, daughter, in your close patience.
Oh, I will to him and pluck out his eyes.
You shall not be admitted to his sight.
Unhappy Claudio, wretched Isabel, injurious world, most damned Angelo.
This nor hurt him, nor profits you a jot. Forbear it, therefore, give your cause to heaven. Mark what I say, which you shall find by every syllable a faithful verity. The Duke comes home tomorrow. Nay, dry your eyes. One of our convent and his confessor gives me this instance. Already he hath carried notice to Aeschylus and Angelo, who do prepare to meet him at the gates, there to give up their power, if you can, pace your wisdom. In that good path that I would wish it could go. And you shall have your bosom on this wretch, grace of the Duke, revenges to your heart, and general honor.
I am directed by you.
This letter, then, to Friar Peter give. 'Tis that he hath sent me the Duke's return. Say by this token I desire his company at Mariana's house tonight. And her cause and yours I'll perfect him withal, and he shall bring you before the Duke and to the head of Angelo. Accuse him home and home. For my poor self I am combined by a sacred vow and shall be absent. Wend you with this letter. Commend these fretting waters from your eyes with a light heart. Trust not my holy order if I pervert your course. Who's there?
Good even, friar. Where's the provost?
Not within, sir.
Oh, pretty Isabella, I am pale at mine heart to see thine eyes so red. Thou must be patient. I am fain to dine and sup with water and bran. I dare not for my head fill my belly. One fruitful meal will set me to it. But they say the Duke will be here tomorrow. By my troth, Isabel, I loved thy brother. If the old fantastical Duke of Dark Corners had been at home, he had lived.
Sir, the Duke is marvelous, little beholding to your reports, but the best is, he lives not in them.
Friar, thou knowest not the Duke so well as I do. He's a better woodman than thou talk'st for him.
Well, you'll answer to this one day. Fare you well.
Nay, tarry, I'll go along with thee. I can tell thee pretty tales of the Duke.
You have told me too many of him already, sir, if they be true. If not true, none were enough.
I was once before him getting a wench with child.
Did you such a thing?
Yes, marry did I, but I was fain to forswear it. They would else have married me to the rotten meddler.
Sir, your company is fairer than honest. Rest you well.
By my troth, I'll go with thee to the lane's end. If bawdy talk offend you, we'll have very little of it. Nay, friar, I am a kind of a burr. I shall stick.
Every letter he hath writ dispouts other.
In most uneven and distracted manner. His actions show much like to madness. Pray heaven his wisdom not be tainted. And why meet him at the gates and deliver our authorities there?
I guess not.
And why should we proclaim it an hour before his entering that if any crave redress of injustice, they should exhibit their petitions in the streets?
He shows his reason for that, to have a dispatch of complaints and to deliver us from devices hereafter which shall then have no power to stand against us.
Well, I beseech you, let it be proclaimed. Betimes in the morn I'll call you at your house. Give notice to such men of short and suit as are to meet him.
I shall, sir. Fare you well.
Good night. This deed unshapes me quite, makes me unpregnant and dull to all proceedings. A deflowering made, and by an eminent body that enforced the law against it? But that her tender shame will not proclaim against her maiden loss, how might she tongue me? Yet reason dares her know, for my authority bears of a credent bulk, that no peculiar scandal once can touch, but it confounds the breather. He should have lived, save that his riotous youth with dangerous sense might in the times to come have taken revenge by so receiving a dishonored life with ransom of such shame. Would yet he had lived. Alack, when once our grace we have forgot, nothing goes right. We would, and we would not.
These letters at fit time deliver me. The provost knows our purpose and our plot. The matter being afoot, and keep your instruction and hold you ever to our special drift. Though sometimes you do blench from this to that, as cause doth minister. Go call Flavius' house, and tell them where I stay. Give the like notice to Valentius, Roland, and to Crassius, and bid them bring the trumpets to the gate. But send me Flavius first.
It shall be speeded well.
I thank thee, Varius. Thou hast made me good haste. Come, we will talk. We will walk. There's other of our friends who we will greet us anon. My gentle Varius.
To speak so indirectly, I am loath. I would say the truth, but to accuse him so, that is your part. Yet I'm advised to do it, he says, to veil full purpose.
Be ruled by him.
Besides, he tells me that if peradventure he speak against me on the adverse side, I should not think it strange, for 'tis a physic that's bitter to a sweet end.
I would, Friar Peter.
Oh, peace! The friar is come.
Come, I have found you out a stand most fit, where you may have such vantage on the Duke. He shall not pass you. Twice have the trumpet sounded. The generous and gravest citizens have hent the gates, and very near upon the Duke is entering. Therefore, hence away.
Act 5.
My very worthy cousin, fairly met. Our old and faithful friend, we are glad to see you.
Happy return be to your royal grace.
Royal grace.
Many and hearty thankings to you both. We have made inquiry of you, and we hear such goodness of your justice that our soul cannot but yield you for the public thanks for running more requital.
You make my bonds still greater.
Oh, your desert speaks loud. And I should wrong it, to lock it in the wards of covert bosom, when it deserves with characters of brass, afforded residence against the tooth of time and razor of oblivion. Give me your hand, and let the subject see, to them know, that outward courtesies would fain proclaim favors that keep within. Come, Aeschylus, you must walk by us on our other hand, and good supporters are you.
Now is your time. Speak loud and kneel before him.
Justice, O royal duke. Veil your regard upon a wronged, I would have fain said, a maid. O worthy prince, dishonor not your eye by throwing it on any other object till you have heard me in my true complaint and given me justice, 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 justice.
Relate your wrongs. And what by whom? Be brief. Here is Lord Angelo shall give you justice. Reveal yourself to him.
Worthy duke, you bid me seek redemption of the devil. Hear me yourself, for that which I must speak must either punish me, not being believed, or wring redress from you. Hear me. Oh, hear me here.
My lord, her wits, I fear me, are not firm. She hath been a suitor to me for her brother, cut off by course of justice.
By course of justice?
And she will speak most bitterly and strange.
Most strange, but yet most truly I will speak. That Angelo's forsworn, is it not strange? That Angelo's a murderer, is it not strange? That Angelo is an adulterous thief and hypocrite, a virgin violator, is it not strange and strange?
Nay, it is 10 times strange.
It is not truer he is Angelo, then this is all as true as it is strange. Nay, it is 10 times true, for truth is truth to the end of reckoning.
Away with her, poor soul. She speaks this in the infirmity of sense.
O prince, I conjure thee, as thou believest there is another comfort than this world, that thou neglect me not with that opinion that I am touched with madness. Make not impossible that which but seems unlike. 'Tis not impossible, but one, the wickedest caitiff on the ground, may seem as shy, as grave, as just, as absolute as Angelo. Even so may Angelo, in all his dressings, carracks, titles, forms, be an arch-villain. Believe it, royal prince. If he be less, he's nothing, but he's more, had I more name for badness.
By mine honesty, if she be mad, as I believe no other, her madness hath the oddest frame of sense, such a dependency of thing on thing, as e'er I heard in madness.
O gracious Duke, harp not on that, nor do not banish reason for inequality, but let your reason serve to make the truth appear where it seems hid, and hide the false seems true.
Many that are not mad have sure more lack of reason. What would you say?
I am the sister of one Claudio, condemned upon the act of fornication to lose his head, condemned by Angelo. I, in probation of a sisterhood, was sent to by my brother, one Lucio, as then the messenger.
That's I, and like your grace, I came to her from Claudio and desired her to try her gracious fortune with Lord Angelo for her poor brother's pardon.
That's he indeed.
You were not bid to speak.
No, my good lord, nor wished to hold my peace.
I wish you now, then. Pray you take note of it, and when you have a business for yourself, pray heaven you then be perfect.
I warrant, your honor.
The warrant's for yourself. Take heed to it.
This gentleman told somewhat of my tale.
Right.
It may be right, but you are in the wrong to speak before your time. Proceed.
I went to this pernicious caitiff deputy.
That's somewhat madly spoken.
Pardon it, the phrase is to the matter.
Mend it again. The matter, proceed.
In brief, to set the needless process by, how I persuaded, how I prayed and kneeled, how he refelled me, and how I replied, for this was of much length. The vile conclusion I now begin with grief and shame to utter. He would not, but by gift of my chaste body, to his concupiscible, intemperate lust, release my brother, and after much debatement, my sisterly remorse confutes mine honor, and I did yield to him. But the next morn betimes, his purpose surfeiting, he sent a warrant for my poor brother's head.
This is most likely.
Oh, that it were as like as it is true.
By heaven, fond wretch, thou knowest not what thou speakest, or else thou suborned against his honor in hateful practice. First, his integrity stands without blemish. Next, it imports no reason that with such vehemency he should pursue faults proper to himself. If he had so offended, he would have weighed thy brother by himself, and not have him cut off. Someone hath sent you on. Confess the truth. Say by whose advice thou camest here to complain.
Is this all? Then, O you blessed ministers above, keep me in patience, and with ripened time unfold the evil which is here wrapped up in countenance. Heaven shield your grace from woe, as I, thus wronged, hence unbelieved go.
I know you fain be gone. An officer to prison with her. Shall we thus permit a blasting and scandalous breath to fall on him so near us? This needs must be a practice. Who knew of your intent and coming hither?
One that I wish were here, Friar Lodwick.
A ghostly father belike? Who knows that Lodwick?
My lord, I know him. 'Tis a meddling friar, I do not like the man. Had he been lay, my lord, for certain words he spake against your grace, and your retirement I had swinged him soundly.
Words against me. This is a good friar belike. And set on this wretched woman here against our substitute. Let this friar be found.
But yesternight, my lord, she and that friar, I saw them at the prison. A saucy friar, a very scurvy fellow.
Blessed be your royal grace. I have stood by my lord, and I have heard your royal ear abused. First hath this woman most wrongfully accused your substitute, who is as free from touch or soil with her as she from one ungot.
We did believe no less. Know you that Friar Lodwick that she speaks of?
I know him for a man divine and holy, not scurvy nor a temporary meddler as he's reported by this gentleman, and on my trust a man that never yet did, as he vouches, misreport your grace.
My lord, most villainously believe it.
Well, he in time may come to clear himself, but at this instant he is sick, my lord, of a strange fever. Upon his mere request being come to knowledge that there was complaint intended against Lord Angelo, came I hither to speak as from his mouth what he doth know is true and false, and what he with his oath and all probation will make up full clear, whensoever he's convented. First for this woman to justify this worthy nobleman, so vulgarly and personally accused. Her shall you here disapprove it to her eyes, till she herself confess it.
Good friar, let's hear it. Do you not smile at this Lord Angelo? Or give us some seats. Come, cousin Angelo. This I'll be impartial. Be you judge of your own cause. Is this the witness, friar? First, let her show her face and speak after.
Pardon, my lord. I will not show my face until my husband bid me.
What, are you married?
No, my lord.
Are you a maid?
No, my lord.
A widow, then?
Neither, my lord.
Why are you nothing, then neither maid, widow, nor wife?
My lord, she may be a punk, for many of them are neither maid, widow, nor wife.
Silence that fellow. Would he had some cause to prattle for himself?
Well, my lord.
My lord, I do confess I ne'er was married, and I confess besides I am no maid. I have known my husband, yet my husband knows not that ever he knew me.
He was drunk then, my lord, it can be no better.
For the benefit of silence, would thou wert so too?
Well, my lord.
This is no witness for Lord Angelo.
Now come to it, my lord. She that accuses him of fornication in self-same manner doth accuse my husband, and charges him, my lord, with such a time when I'll depose. I had him in mine arms with all the effect of love.
Charges she more than me?
Not that I know.
No? You say your husband?
Why, just my lord, and that is Angelo, who he thinks he knows that he ne'er knew my body, but knows he thinks that he knows Isabel's.
This is a strange abuse. Let's see thy face.
My husband bids me. Now I will unmask. This is that face, thou cruel Angelo, which once thou sworest was worth the looking on. This is the hand which with a vowed contract was fast belocked in thine. This is the body that took away the match from Isabel, and did supply thee at thy garden house in her imagined person.
Know you this woman? Know you this woman?
Carnally, she says.
Sir, no more.
Enough, my lord.
My lord, I must confess, I know this woman, and 5 years since there was some speech of marriage betwixt myself and her, which was broke off, partly for that her promise and proportions came short of composition, but in chief for that her reputation was disvalued in levity. Since which time of 5 years I never spake with her, saw her, nor heard from her, upon my faith and honor.
Noble prince, as there comes light from heaven and words from breath, as there is sense in truth and virtue, I am affianced this man's wife, as strongly as words could make up vows. And my good lord, but Tuesday night last gone in garden house, he knew me as a wife. As this is true, let me in safety raise me from my knees, or else forever be confixed here, a marble monument.
I did but smile till now. Now, good my lord, give me the scope of justice. My patience here is touched. I do perceive these poor informal women are no more but instruments of some more mightier member that sets them on. Let me have my way, my lord, to find this practice out.
I, with my heart, and punish them to your height of pleasure. Thou foolish friar, and thou pernicious woman, compact her with that gone, thinkst thou thy oaths, though they would swear down each particular saint, were testimonies against his worth and credit that's sealed in approbation. You, Lord Aeschylus, sit with my cousin. Lend him your kind pains to find out this abuse, whence 'tis derived. There is another friar that set them on. Let him be sent for.
Would he were here, my lord, for he indeed hath set the women on to this complaint. Your provost knows the place where he abides, and he may fetch him.
Go, do it instantly. And you, my noble, well-warranted cousin, whom it concerns to hear this matter forth, do with your injuries as seems you best in any chastisement. I for a while will leave you, but stir not you till you have well determined upon these slanders.
My lord will do it thoroughly. Signor Lucio, did not you say you knew that Friar Lodowick to be a dishonest person?
Lis non facit monicum. Honest in nothing but in his clothes, and one that has spoke most villainous speeches of the Duke.
We shall entreat you to abide here till he come and enforce them against him. We shall find this friar a notable fellow.
As any in Vienna, on my word.
Call that same Isabel here once again. I would speak with her. Pray you, my lord, give me leave to question. You shall see how I'll handle her.
Not better than he by her own report.
Say you?
Mary, sir, I think if you handled her privately, she would sooner confess. Perchance publicly, she'll be ashamed.
I will go darkly to work with her.
That's the way. for women are light at midnight.
Come on, mistress, here's a gentlewoman denies all that you have said.
My lord, here comes the rascal I spoke of, here with the provost.
In very good time. Speak not you to him till we call upon you. Come, sir. Did you set these women on to slander Lord Angelo? They have confessed you did.
It's false.
How? Know you where you are?
Respect to your great place, and let the devil be sometimes honored for his burning throne. Where's the Duke? Tis he should not hear me speak.
The Duke's in us, and we will hear you speak. Look, you speak justly.
Boldly, at least. But oh, poor souls, come you seek the lamb here of the fox? Good night to your redress. Is the Duke gone? Then is your cause gone too? The Duke's unjust thus to retort your manifest appeal, and put your trial in the villain's mouth, which here you come to accuse.
This is the rascal. This is he who I spoke of.
Why, thou unreverend, unhallowed friar, is not enough thou hast suborned these women to accuse this worthy man, but in foul mouth and in the witness of his proper ear to call him villain, and then to glance from him to the Duke himself, to tax him with injustice. Take him hence to the rack with him. We'll touse him joint by joint, but we will know his purpose. To what, unjust?
Be not so hot. The Duke dare no more stretch this finger of mine than dare rack his own. His subject I am not, nor here provincial. My business is the state made me a looker on here in Vienna, where I have seen corruption boil and bubble till it o'errun to stew. Laws for all faults, but faults so countenanced that the strong statutes stand like the forfeits in a barber's shop, as much in mock as mark.
Slander to the state, away with him to prison.
What can you vouch against him, Signor Lucio? Is this the man that you did tell us of?
'Tis he, my lord. Come hither, goodman Baldpate. Do you know me?
I remember you, sir, by the sound of your voice. I met you at the prison in the absence of the Duke.
Oh, did you so? And do you remember what you said of the Duke?
Most notedly, sir.
Do you so, sir? And was the Duke a fleshmonger, a fool and a coward, as you then reported him to be?
You must, sir, change persons with me ere you make that my report. You indeed speak so of him, and much more, much worse.
Oh, thou damnable fellow! Did not I pluck thee by the nose for thy speeches?
I protest I love the Duke as I love myself.
Hark, how the villain would close now after his treasonable abuses.
Such a fellow is not to be taught withal. Away with him to prison. Where is provost? Away with him to prison. Lay bolts enough upon him. Let him speak no more. Away with those giglets too, and with other confederate companion.
Stay, sir. Stay a while.
What? Resists he? Help him, Lucio.
Come, sir, come, sir, come, sir. Oh, sir, why, you bald-pated lying rascal. You must be hooded, must you? Show your name's visage with the pox to you. Show your sheep-biting face and be hanged in an hour. Will't not off?
Thou art the first knave that e'er made a duke. First provost, let me bail these gentle three. Sneak not away, sir, for the friar and you must have a word anon. Lay hold on him.
This may prove worse than hanging.
What you have spoke, I pardon. Sit you down. We'll borrow the place of him. Sir, by your leave, hast thou a word or wit or impudence that yet can do these office? If thou hast, rely upon it till my tale be heard, and hold on no longer.
Oh, my dread lord, I should be guiltier than my guiltiness to think I can be undiscernible when I perceive Your grace, like power divine, hath looked upon my passes. Then, good prince, no longer session hold upon my shame, but let my trial be mine own confession. Immediate sentence then, and sequent death is all the grace I beg.
Come hither, Mariana. Say, wouldst thou e'er contracted to this woman?
I was, my lord.
Go, take her hence and marry her instantly. Do you the office, friar, which consummate, return him here again? Go with him, provost.
My lord, I am more amazed at his dishonor than at the strangeness of it.
Come hither, Isabel. Your friar is now your prince, as I was then advertising and wholly to your business, not changing heart with habit. I am still attorneyed at your service.
Give me pardon that I, your vassal, have employed and pained your unknown sovereignty.
You are pardoned, Isabel. And now, dear maid, be you as free to us. Your brother's death, I know, sits at your heart, and you may marvel why I obscure myself, laboring to save his life, and would not rather make rash remonstrance of my hidden power than let him be so lost. O most kind maid, it's the swift celerity of his death, which I did think with slower foot came on, that brained my purpose. But peace be with him. That life is better life past fearing death than that which lives to fear. Make it your comfort. So happy is your brother.
I do, my lord.
For this new married man approaching here, who salt imagine yet hath wronged your well-defended honor, you must pardon for Mariana's sake. But as he adjudged your brother, being criminal in double violation of sacred chastity and of promise breach, thereon dependent for your brother's life. The very mercy of the law cries out most audible, even from this pauper tongue, and Angelo for Claudio, death for death. Haste still pays haste, and leisure answers leisure. Like doth quit like, and measure still for measure. Then, Angelo, thy faults thus manifested, which, though thou wouldst deny, denies thee vantage. We do condemn thee to the very block, where Claudio stooped to death, and with like haste. Away with him.
O most gracious Lord, I hope you will not mock me with a husband.
It is your husband mocked you with a husband. Consenting to the safeguard of your honor, I thought your marriage fit. Else imputation for that he knew might reproach your life and choke your good to come. For his possessions, although by confiscation they are ours, we do not instate and widow you with all to buy you a better husband.
Oh, my dear Lord, I crave no other nor no better man.
Never crave him. We are defeated.
Gentle, my liege.
You do but lose your labor. Away with him. Now, sir, to you.
Oh, my good Lord, sweet Isabel, take my part. Lend me your knees, and all my life to come, I'll lend you all my life to do you service.
Against all sent you do importune her. Should she kneel down in mercy of this fact, her brother's ghost his paved bed would break, and take her hence in horror.
Isabel, sweet Isabel, do yet but kneel by me. Hold up your hands, say nothing, I'll speak all. They say the best men are molded out of faults, and for the most become much more the better for being a little bad. So may my husband. Oh, Isabel, will you not lend any?
He dies for Claudio's death.
Most bounteous sir, look, if it please you, on this man condemned, as if my brother lived. I partly think a due sincerity governed his deeds, till he did look on me. Since it is so, let him not die. My brother had but justice, and that he did the thing for which he died, For Angelo, his act did not overtake his bad intent, and must be buried but as an intent that perished by the way. Thoughts are no subjects, intents but merely thoughts.
Merely, my lord.
Your suit's unprofitable. Stand up, I say. I have bethought me another fault. Provost, how came it Claudio was beheaded at an unusual hour?
It was commanded so.
Had you a special warrant for the deed?
No, my good lord. It was by private message.
For which I do discharge you of your office. Give up your keys.
Pardon me, noble lord. I thought it was a fault, but I knew it not, yet did repent me after more advice. For testimony thereof, one in the prison that should be by private order, else have died, I have reserved alive.
What's he?
His name is Barnardine.
I would thou hadst done so by Claudio. Go fetch him hither. Let me look upon him.
I am sorry one so learned and so wise as you, Lord Angelo, have still appeared, should slip so grossly, both in heat of blood and lack of tempered judgment afterward.
I am sorry that such sorrow I procure, and so deep sticks it in my penitent heart that I crave death more willingly than mercy. 'Tis my deserving, and I do entreat it.
Which is that Barnardine?
This, my lord.
There was a friar told me of this man. Sir, thou art said to have a stubborn soul that apprehends no further than this world, and squarts thy life accordingly. Thou art condemned. But for those earthly faults, I quit them all, and pray thee take this mercy to provide for better times to come. Friar, advise him. I leave him to your hand. What muffled fellow's that?
This is another prisoner that I saved, who should have died when Claudio lost his head, as like almost a Claudio as himself.
If he be like your brother, for his sake is he pardoned. And for your lovely sake, give me your hand, and say you will be mine. By this Lord Angelo perceives he's safe. He is my brother too, but fitter for that time for that. By this Lord Angelo perceives he is safe. Methinks I see a quickening in his eyes. Well, Angelo, your evil quits you well. Look that you love your wife, her worth yours. I find an apt remission in myself, and yet here's one in place I cannot pardon. You, sir, that knew me for a fool, a coward, one of all luxury and ass, madam, wherein have I so deserved of you, that you extol me thus?
Faith, my lord, I spoke it but according to the trick. If you will hang me for it, you may, but I had rather it, if you would please, if I might be whipped.
Whipped first, sir, hanged after. Proclaim it, provost, round about the city, if any woman wronged by this lewd fellow, as I have heard him swear himself there's one whom he begot with child, let her appear, and he shall marry her. The nuptial finished, let him be whipped and hanged.
I beseech your highness, do not marry me to a whore. Your highness said even now I made you a duke. Good, my lord, do not recompense me in making me a cuckold.
Upon mine honor, thou shalt marry her. Thy slanders I forgive, and therewithal remit thy other forfeits. Take him to prison, and see our pleasure herein executed.
Marrying a punk, my lord, is pressing to death, whipping, and hanging.
Slandering a prince deserves it. She, Claudio, that you wronged, look you restore. Joy to you, Mariana. Love her, Angelo. I've confessed her, and I know her virtue. Thanks, good friend, Escalus, for thy much goodness. There's more behind that is more gratulate. Thanks, Provost, for thy care and secrecy. We shall employ thee in a worthier place. Forgive him, Angelo, that brought you home the head of Ragazine for Claudio's. The fence pardons itself. Dear Isabel, I have a motion much imports your good, whereto if you'll a willing ear incline, what's mine is yours, and what's yours is mine. So bring us to our place where we'll show what yet behind that meets you all should know.
Hi, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us for Measure for Measure for this incredible reading. We will now take a few moments, about 2 minutes, to allow the audience to type questions they have into the chat, and then we will gather to introduce all the members of our company and then engage in a post-show discussion. As a reminder, if you wish to donate, you can still do so by Venmoing me at SIERRA-LANCASCASTR. See you in a couple minutes. Okay, hi everyone, welcome back. Thank you so much again for attending this reading and for joining us this afternoon. I think our attendees are being a little shy, so we don't have any questions in the chat yet, but I do want to get started just because I know this is a longer production and I'm sure you all want to go eat or something of the like. So if all of our panelists, all of our company members want to join us, want to turn on their cameras so we can see you. Let's just see all your beautiful faces. Yes. Hello, everyone. That was just amazing. You all are just absolutely incredible. Shakespeare wishes he was alive for this. So, why don't we just go around and everyone just say your name, say where you're from or where you're at right now, or both. Tell us a character that you played today, and yeah, just tell us that. Okay, I'll start. So my name is Samuel-Lancaster. I played Isabella, and I am from Omaha, Nebraska, and I'm currently in Omaha, Nebraska. I'm going to pass it to Parker.
Hey guys, my name is Parker Jennings. I am from Atlanta, Georgia. I am currently in Boston, Massachusetts, and I played Mistress Overdone.
And then you can just pass it.
Oh, cool. Let's go, Carlyn.
Hi. I'm Carlyn Barenholtz. What were we supposed to say? Whatever. I'm a junior. I'm a rising junior at BOCO. I'm from New York City, and I'm currently in Staten Island in New York City. Oh yeah, and I was a Borson. Let's pass it to Joe.
Hi there, my name is Joseph Morell. I'm from Miami, Florida, and I played Barnardine. You, right? That's Nigel.
What's up, everybody? My name is Nigel. I play Claudio. I am from Providence, Rhode Island. I'm currently in Boston at the moment. Let's pass it to Dwayne.
Hey guys, I am Dwayne P. Mitchell, and I was born in Atlanta, Georgia, raised in Los Angeles, California. It's a lot going on there. I'm currently living in Boston, and I played the Duke and Friar Lodwick. Let's pass it to Marshall.
Yo, hi family. I'm Marshall. I am from ATL, Fo till I die. I played Aeschylus. Cool. I'm gonna pass it to MC.
Hey, I'm MC. I'm also from Atlanta. I played Froth and the boy. I'll give it to Ian.
Hey y'all, I'm Ian Eller. I'm currently in Phoenix, Arizona, and I played Pompey Bum, and I will pass it to my dear friend Peter.
Hey, I'm Peter. My pronouns are he, him. I'm from New Jersey, and I played Elbow, and I'm in New Jersey, and I go to BOCO. Okay. I'll pass it to Collier. You didn't go, right? Yeah, Collier.
Hi, I'm Collier. I'm from Severn, Maryland, which is where I currently am. I played the Justice and Gentleman number 2. And I'll pass it to Alex.
Hi, I'm Alex. My pronouns are he, him, his. I am from Kansas. I'm in Kansas, and I played Angela. And I'll pass it to Nathanael.
Hi, I'm Nathanael Wilkerson. I'm in Chicago, Illinois, currently, born and raised, and I played the provost. That's my fault. And I'll pass it to Emma.
Hi, I'm Emma. I played Mariana, and I'm from Durham, North Carolina, and I'm currently in Durham, North Carolina. I think that's all. I'll pass it to Kate.
Hi, I'm Kate Liebl. I'm from Chicago originally, just outside, yeah. And I'm currently living in Boston and will be for the next year. And I played the nun. Who else is left to go? Is that everybody? Oh, okay. I forgot your name. I'm so sorry.
I think I'm the outlier here. I'm Nathan Bonsall, and I don't go to BOCO, but I know Sierra from Nebraska, which is where I'm at right now. I'm originally from Denver, Colorado, and I played Geo today.
I think we have Mari as our final one. Is Mari here? She might have had to head out, and that's totally okay. It's kind of, yeah, she's in Switzerland, so it's a little late on her end. But yeah, this is our beautiful, amazing company. Thank you all so much. So I think I'll just pose a question to all of you, and whoever wants to answer it can just answer it. Ever can answer it. No one can answer it. It's completely up to you. But my question is, why do you think theater is important right now, and what do you want to tell audience members? What do you wish that they knew, coming from an actor's perspective, about theater currently right now, and your hope for theater in the future? I love this question. Yeah, whoever wants to go. Dwayne?
Okay, I'll start and then I'll pass it. I'll be brief, but I think we're in a very pivotal time right now. And I think it's so important, especially in our field, but just everywhere in the world, for us to kind of rethink and restructure how we address roles, how we address shows, how we address, the types of, the how many people need to be in the room. I think that's the important thing, especially as an actor, but also as somebody who wants to see change behind the table. And I think that's also important. And so, I think for you, Sierra, I thank you for allowing this opportunity because you're essentially, you have a seat at the table by creating these opportunities. And that's what I would love to see more of, just more people, to being able to create those opportunities, and to allowing, the right people to be in the room and at the table, because every voice matters. So I'm just super excited for the future of, theater and the world. Like I said before, we are definitely in a pivotal time, but it's how we look at how we can come back even stronger. I don't think that we'll be back to normal, because normal is what is the problem in the first place. So I think the next level that we'll be coming back to is what's definitely going to, change the next phase of this art form. So I'm excited.
Beautiful. Thank you so much, Dwayne. Anyone else want to take that?
I would love to. Oh, sorry, please.
Oh, okay. I'll be brief as well. I also think that right now it's definitely with COVID and all, it's definitely a hard time for actors and performers, and getting the news that we got about Boko this week has been a bit tough, because we knew going into like a hybrid system it would be different, because so much of our art form is getting together and being in the same room, and like that energy that you feel in person. And so that like is something that I know we are all like anxious to like get back to, and we miss dearly. And so I'm also so thankful for Sierra and for the series, because it gives us a new medium to get into a Zoom room, and just be together and be connecting. And even though it's different, like it is a bit of a substitute for now. And also picking this play was so important, I think. Like a very firm believer that Shakespeare is so universal because it's always relevant. And this play, especially, of what happens when like eyes are turned and when people look away from abuses in power, is as relevant as ever. And now we're in a time where we're calling that out, and change is being made daily. So the momentum and the importance of keeping that going is alive and well and super relevant in this play. So thank you for picking this one especially.
Well, thank you for being here, Carlyn. You did a beautiful job. Nathanael?
Yeah, I think Shakespeare in general, and this show specifically, is so applicable because people often say like art reflects the times. And I think looking back at Shakespeare, we're watching it reflect our current time, but also the time that it was written. I mean, even though we have our female protagonist win, so to speak, at the end of the show, there are certain parts of the show that still are shaky in today's society. And so it's really lovely. I love that art is so often about observing ourselves. And observing this play in the modern time is also a reflection of how far things have changed and what happens when we decide to stop changing and we decide to let our progress atrophy. So it was a great selection. I love this show.
Thank you, Nathanael. We have Parker and then Nathan.
Nathanael, I thank you for saying that, because I think there's been a lot of debate recently on Shakespeare and how, if at all, do we move forward with this text. And I think being a part of this today solidified my understanding and my stance in that. I think
these texts can be revitalized and brought back in such a way, in such a casting that allows new voices and new opinions and a modern outlook to really influence how we're taking in these texts, and not just reading them verbatim and not taking them as a bunch of elitists on a stage, and really going back to Shakespeare being for the people. And so as an actor in this time, I think through both Shakespeare and all the other work that I know a lot of us are looking forward to, and the opportunities we're trying to find during this time, like, and for me, it's such an important time to really reflect on why we do the work we do, and recognize that even when we're not in a room with other people or in our fancy facilities or being able to perform or getting paid, we're still bringing ideas through art and conversation through art, and we're all sitting here on Zoom having these conversations about this piece of text that's 100 years old but as relevant as ever. And I think like that for me is what is so incredible about art, and then like so fulfilling about being a performer, especially right now. Yeah.
Gorgeous. Thank you, Parker. Nathan?
Yeah, I think this summer has made me realize, just how vital it is to connect with other artists. And I think we're at a moment in our country where we're on the precipice of incredible, radical change. And I think when you look back in the history of our country, artists have always been there in those moments. And I think I love theater so much, especially now, because it's a way for marginalized voices to have their stories told. And people are consciously making efforts now, especially artists, to educate themselves and fight against the powers that don't want these stories told. So I think it's just so beautiful, even the fact that we're just here right now, just read a play together, and it's like such a beautiful mixture of people. I think it's really powerful to do things like this. State right now.
Thank you, Nathan. You're wonderful. Emma.
I just had a quick quote I wanted to share. I was reading on Facebook the other day, and someone posted this quote, and I can't remember who it's from, but the quote was, "The role of the artist is to make the revolution irresistible." And that like really spoke to me. And I think that because we're in such a tumultuous time, it's like in the US, I think that it's just really crucial that like we're sticking together as artists, and we're doing these things, and we're having these difficult discussions, and we're trying to like break down these systems of oppression that have just been like beating down and keeping marginalized people kind of behind closed doors for the past couple hundred years. And I think that it's great that we're finally kind of coming into like the mainstream in terms of like these radical ideas of treating people like humans. And so I think that it's really important that we keep pushing forward with these things. And I just thought I'd share that quote.
That was so powerful, Emma. Thank you. Marshall?
Yeah, I'm very interested in showing BIPOC creators that their voices have worth. I think that's been the one thing that's been missing a lot. It's really easy to use artists of colors on stage, but to use them and kind of honestly pull from generational trauma from these artists on stage, and then not invest in the voices behind the table. So when you hit me up, I was like, yo, I get to do a show that's like not about Black trauma, period. I was like, bet, like this, I'm not a slave, I'm not Booker T. Washington, this is lit. So like it was, I look forward to seeing a world where other brown boys understand that their voices have value, but also understanding that these classical texts, they're vague but still very specific, and us to slide in that little bit of flavor and deepen the story completely from then what it was originally. So I'm looking forward to a world in which we don't have to ask permission to be as flavorful, I'll say, as we want to be. Indeed.
Yes, I am looking forward to that world as well. I know we all are. Thank you so much, Marshall. We do have a question, which is very exciting. This is from an anonymous attendee, which I believe is probably my mother. But this anonymous attendee wants to know, as actors, does playing a role in a Shakespeare play challenge your artistic abilities more than other playwrights, or especially other famous playwrights? I know. It's a good question, anonymous attendee. I saw Alex's hand first, so Alex, take it away.
I think for me, when I think about like Shakespeare, even though I've done several sort of Shakespeare shows, I still think of it like Shakespeare, like, oh, you're doing Shakespeare. And like, it's something that has a certain sound to it, or it has like, especially because the poetry of the writing, I feel like needs to be upheld. So I think that there is that to grapple with, as opposed to sort of other prominent playwrights or even contemporary playwrights. There's the heritage of this work, and there is sort of all of the iterations that come before you. And so for me, at least, I think about how can I bring myself to it? How can I bring it to now? How can I take what I've seen other actors do in these pieces, but also make it new? And I think that there's a lot of, more so in this and in Shakespeare in general, there's a lot more. Sierra said this before the reading started, kind of in our little huddle almost, that it was really about the text. And I think especially now in Zoom theater, because you just have the words and this much of the person doing it, as opposed to genuine human interactions, like the text makes it so much more important. That was kind of all long-winded, but that's where I'm gonna stop.
That was amazing. Thank you, Alex. Nathanael?
Yeah, I think it's so interesting that it's sort of like asking a singer to sing like a classical piece versus asking them to sing like a jazz piece. It's not necessarily like a stressor on my like acting skills, but it's just completely different. It's like Alex said, like it, the text is so important in Shakespearean shows. And so I would say it's a very different muscle. And I find that often a lot of actors and directors sort of get so trapped in trying to maintain the integrity of Shakespeare that they actually they betray it by sticking to it so closely. And I used to not like doing Shakespeare for that reason for a very long time. And I think, like the conversation we're having around this, it does open up the breadth of the possibilities that Shakespeare holds. So yeah, I guess again, to answer that question, I'm not sure if it's exactly a challenge. It is just a completely different thing that you need to train and build up.
Absolutely, yes. Wonderful. Thank you, Nathanael. Carlyn.
Yeah, so similarly to what Nathanael was saying, something that we learned a lot, that was emphasized a lot by Doug, for anyone that had Doug Lockwood in freshman year when working on Shakespeare, is that like the text, as important and historic as it isn't precious. And oftentimes when people treat it like it's too like safeguarded and precious, you lose the intent. To these people a few hundred years back, this was colloquial. And it is, like Parker said, like the text and stories for people, for like the common people. So something that I find really touching and also like inspiring about doing classical work is that you're finding a way to take these words that meant this theme to these people and bringing them into now. And if you can bring yourself as contemporarily, like Sierra told us, just like dress like modern people, like dress like yourselves, because we're taking this text and bringing it along and plopping it into this modern context. And that's what keeps it alive, but the themes are written in to be relevant. So in a way, kind of the exercise that I had to learn coming into college, especially after like specifically training my classical piece for college auditions, was like, this isn't that much different than you just bringing yourself into a text and like telling the story and being yourself and not treating it like it's too precious or in this little box, because that's not what it's meant to be.
Absolutely. Thank you, Carlyn. Marshall, I saw your hand.
Yeah. I think with Shakespeare, you're more like an archaeologist, and it's like it requires a little bit more digging than anything else. But I mean, it's poetry. It's the same as if it was Ntozake Shange or Pearl Clegg or August Wilson or Danye Love. Like it's all the same. I just think you just got to be like, oh, what does that word mean sometimes? And you Google it and then you find. Yeah, I don't think it's ever really too like, I grew up being taught that these stories weren't for people of color. So then once I got into it and I was like, what? I was like, these are things I'm going through every day. How are they not for me? So I feel like there's one thing to, you feel like it has to be or not to be, but like, what happens if you chill out and talk to people? So I think it's really easy to get caught up in the magic and like the mystique of like Shakespeare and like, ooh, I do Shakespeare. I'm classically trained. I'm better than the rest of you. Stop. Chill out. It's not that deep. Yeah, I mean, you're an actor. Act, period. Moving on.
Yes, as Forreston said, Carlyn said, period. Correct. Thank you, Marshall. Is there anyone else who'd like to add to that? I'll just say one thing. I kind of want to go off what Marshall said. I'm someone where I've just always loved period pieces. Like that's a huge thing for me. When I was, in elementary school, middle school, came home and watched Downton Abbey, like that was my thing. And one of the, yes, okay, so many Downton Abbey fans in the house. That's what I needed today. And I think one of the greatest sorrows for me as a BIPOC actor and watching those shows is feeling like I'll never get to be a part of them. And we know it's not true. And I know that we are entering a new world where it doesn't matter. You don't have to be so, if you're telling traditionally, quote unquote, like if you're doing Pride and Prejudice, it doesn't need to be all white actors. But I think the thing about Shakespeare is that I feel like his words transcend time. The stories are always relevant for all people. And I think that if we lived in a world and created an artistic space where we treated applicable plays and applicable art as Shakespeare, where we allow, not even allow, but we encourage all people, especially people of color, to tell those stories, then I think we're going to live in a much different artistic world, but also a much different world politically and a much different society. So I think that's something that I'm definitely looking forward to. But I did want to announce our final total because I know that's why people are also here. So we were able to raise over $400 for Project Nani Kali, which Project Nani, yes, claps. But what's so amazing is that Project Nani Kali is obviously an Indian organization, and so that means over 30,000 rupees were fundraised for Project Nani Kali, which will be able to send 4 to 5 girls to school for their lifetime. So thank you all so much. You just changed people's lives. You all are amazing. Thank you so much. Join us on Saturday, August 8th for Cinderella and the Crystal Slipper, and then Wednesday, August 12th for our final show of the season, August, Osage County. Thank you all so much. Keep creating, keep changing. Have a wonderful afternoon. Thank you all so much.